Okay, and we'll start again, like from start.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, Yvonne. Yeah, you've got my consent to record and post this call.
Right.
I'm happy for it to be posted and used in whatever way you see fit. Can I just start with a message from Mrs. Anonymous, Dick?
Yes, please do.
She's
Go
gonna,
ahead.
yeah, she's gonna get off your nuts. She's not gonna be abusing you, calling you names. She's not gonna be going after you. She's not gonna be keeping on about the fucking Kelly chat logs. That's done. It's past.
Yeah,
Now I
well,
know the damage is done, and
here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. The whole
yeah,
fucking planet thinks I'm a goddamn pedo when I would never, ever harm a child. And in fact, I've protected people's children in the past. That's the sad part about this whole thing.
yeah,
So, now, just for the record, folks, we're talking to UK Troll. I believe that correct? Is that correct? UK Troll?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Tracy Gamble.
Tracy Gamble, UK Troll. All right. See, the problem is Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous Dick were covering for their buddy Glenn's room, who really was a pedo, who really was chatting up underage girls on his live show. And yes, I do have video evidence of that. And see, the difference is, though, instead of making 100 hate videos about Glenn's room on YouTube, I called the cops. That's the
Yeah,
difference between me and them. I called the cops immediately.
yeah.
Now, my understanding is that they didn't do jack shit, which is kind of sad. But
Mm,
at least I did my due diligence.
yeah,
But here's the thing. The damage is out there. I mean, the whole fucking planet thinks I'm a pedo, and there's no changing that. And so somebody must be held accountable for that. They just do. I
yeah,
applaud the fact that she says she's not going to bother me anymore. But I think there's extenuating circumstances. See,
yeah,
I'm not poor anymore. I'm not destitute anymore. I have money now, and I have a lawyer on retainer. And I think what it is that word is slowly getting around. Hey, Vaughn's got shit tons of money now. He's got an attorney on retainer now. Our ass is in a sling, which is the absolute truth. Now, somebody was on last of the 813's channel there. Oh, Ernie Chrysler in Canada is going to sue your ass. No, he's not going to do shit.
that was Mrs. Anonymous, Dick. But
Yeah.
since then, she said, "Look, I'm going to stop."
Well,
Um,
saying and doing is two different things in my book.
well, if she's look, you probably don't know the history of me. So just to give you a brief history,
Mm-hmm.
you and I are quite similar, Vaughn. I was targeted by the Smileys.
Yes.
My children were posted all over blogs. My 10-year-old in a leotard was sexualized. They made Jimmy Savile channels posting my daughter on there.
Right.
It was horrific. My dead parents have been posted everywhere. My sisters have been posted with nooses. I understand exactly where you're coming from.
Right.
So that's the history of me. But so I then sided with Gam, you know Gam,
Yes.
Pamela Cook.
Right.
And
Cook, right.
me and Gam were friends.
Right.
I had fought Bubba Effect, backstabbing Gam. So I told Bubba Effect,
Right.
"You're a fucking backstabber. I've caught you out and I'm going to tell Gam."
Right.
Well, I thought that when Gam come back, I would tell her what I had seen and that, she would see Bubba for what he was, because I always knew he was a fucking arsehole.
Right. But well, Bubba
And while
Effect.
we're talking of paedophiles,
Right.
Bubba Effect stalked the Armory Channel's daughter,
Right.
and he sent my 14-year-old daughter a picture of his erect dick.
Right.
So let's not talk fucking paedophiles.
Right.
Well,
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing, UK Troll. Okay, here's the thing. All right, a bunch of my haters and a bunch of the smileys and and so forth. A lot of these trolls, they're all the time talking about male genitalia. They're all the time talking about lewd sex acts and stuff like that. And see, where I come from, normal people don't talk that way. All right.
Well, if you notice, Vaughn, I don't get involved in any of those things.
Right. I know you don't.
I stick to the facts.
Right.
For me, I'm going to pay back every motherfucker who stalked my daughter, who
Right.
called her a prostitute,
Right.
who sent her pornography. I am going to fucking destroy you if it's the last thing I do on this earth. That's it.
Right.
Now, me and Katie didn't always see eye to eye.
Mm-hmm.
We were, in the same position as you, but I kind of do understand that when a group of people get together, and this is why I don't join in gangs, they feed off each other.
They do indeed.
One does something dirty, and then another one got to do something dirtier.
Yeah, exactly.
And then another person, and another. I don't like that stuff.
Right,
To me,
right.
it's like behaving like savages.
Well,
It's
it is.
animal.
Yeah.
It is fucking low.
Right.
I agree with what you say. If they had concerns about your children, and I have said this, if they have concerns, take it to the authorities and shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out to help these children, you're slagging the father off, and one day these children will see those things.
Well, I can tell you.
Listen,
I can tell you for a certainty that my children have every intentions of going after the people that have wronged their mother. They're going to sue the ever-living dog shit out of them when they turn of age. That is going to happen. Of course, that's provided there's any of them left when I get done. But yeah, trust me, my kids. Listen, first of all, let's dispel any mess out there. My kids were never abused. They were never mistreated. My kids get straight A's. My kids are fucking honor roll students. Well, the elementary equivalent of honor roll, anyway. But the point is that all of these allegations about my kids is totally fraudulent. All the allegations perpetrated towards me are totally fraudulent and have been proven so in a court of law. See, that's the beauty of this whole thing. So when I take these assholes to court, they're going to lose because all the judge has to do is to reach back into family court and say, well, here's where that story's been dismissed. Here's where that allegation's been dismissed. Here's where this has been dismissed. Every allegation they've levied against me is totally fraudulent. And supposedly, according to one eyewitness, Manchester police is actually having laughter over the fact that they know what's going to happen to these trolls. They know what's going to happen to them because they know they're going to jail. And so the Manchester police are just laughing hysterically, according to what I've been told, because they know what's getting ready to come down. Thor's hammer is literally getting ready to drop. And
that was another message that Katie, which is Mrs. Anonymous Dick, wanted to pass to you.
Yes.
Father Jay, she's never spoken to Andrea. I don't know what this means, but she's never spoken to Andrea. And Father Jay, it was nothing to do with some situation on a bus or something.
Right. Well, that's the allegation. But see, here's the thing. Allegedly, Father Jay is a high-ranking member of the KKK. And if Father Jay opened up his mouth, he could have had 100 men down there. And I know for a fact the trolls knew in advance this rape was going to occur because I got a goddamn email over it a month in advance. So I knew they were plotting this.
Where are you getting the information that Father Jay is KKK?
It came from Monograph and Agent 19.
Right.
Monograph and Agent 19 said clearly that he was at least a former member, high-ranking member of the KKK. And I mean, it bears repeating because, I mean, we found out Senator Byrd was a high-ranking member of KKK, and he's in our goddamn Senate. He's one of the head senators of our Congress, and we found out he was Grand Wizard of the KKK, for fuck's sake. Okay, so I mean, see, he can, and not only that, but there was the thing that gets me about Father Jay is that he keeps insisting I'm lying about him. But there was a video that he himself uploaded where he was drunk off his ass and literally crying in his beer. He was literally sobbing, saying that he had killed his wife and it was all his fault and all this shit. Now, of course, he took the video back down once he sobered up and realized what the fuck he done. But that's not before thousands of people all over the planet saw the damn thing. But I never said I killed my wife. I never said this, that, or that. I said, dude, your own video condemned you, I mean, granted, you was drunk, but still, I mean, too bad, so sad. It's there. It was out there. It happened. So that's just the way it goes. I'm sorry. And my kids are hollering. Hang on just a second, will you?
Yeah, carry on. You can put me on pause, whatever. Okay, you back, Vaughn? Are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm back.
Right.
All right. Okay. So now let's see. Oh yeah. But anyway, he had a video, and he was sobbing in his beer, saying, "I killed her. It's all my fault." Blah 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 blah, and of course he flatly denies. He flatly denies saying that, and I said, "Dude, it was on your own damn video. It was seen by at least hundreds of people, if not thousands, all over the world. Because when you post it to YouTube, it goes out all over the world. So, he can sit there and deny all he wants. But see, but like I said, Monograph...
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that he did murder her. It could mean that he felt mentally guilty over something. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, he was drunk.
Yeah, of course. And if you'd have made the same video, that would be being posted everywhere, and you would be being hauled over the coals for it.
Well, exactly, and that was the point I was getting at. If I had posted that very same video that he posted, it would be all over the internet, thousands of copies. It's just like the Kelly video. Blog TV cleared my name the very next day. Blog TV had the unedited chat logs and cleared my name the very next day. But you don't hear that. You don't see thousands of videos on YouTube clearing my name of the whole Kelly bullshit. And you won't. Yeah. And you won't. That's the sad part. See, that's the part that really pisses me off.
Yeah, but that's the piece that used to get me. People used to call me a child stalker while my daughter was featured on about 20 fucking videos.
Right. Well,
yeah, ridiculous.
See, that's the thing. Where in the fuck was my supposed 16,000 subs? Why didn't they rise up and say, "Hey, man, you guys are making all these allegations about this guy, and there ain't a word of truth to it. What the hell's the matter with you?" And then later on...
most people are scared of people like the trolls, aren't they? Right. Most people just think, "Oh, thank God they're not fucking attacking me."
Yeah, well, that's probably it. But anyway, and then Kenny KPZ comes along with his Dear Von Helton and Andrea video, where he basically intimates that I'm going to kill my wife and that she needs to get the hell out of there. His exact words were, "Grab your kid and get the hell out while you still can." That was his exact words. And then I find out later that Monograph is actually in the real Illuminati. He is really in Freemasonry. He's a high-level member of Freemasonry. And that, he is backing and supporting his buddy Kenny KPZ, and this whole fracas all along. At least it seems that way. And if I
always thought that Monty hated him, but...
Well, that's what I thought too, but I mean, come to find out he was loaded, he had plenty of money. Now, since then, he's drank it away on strong drink, but at the time, he apparently had money. That's what I'm hearing third hand. That he had money. He could have fronted me the money to get an attorney and take Kenny to court. This matter could have been resolved 15 years ago.
But Vaughn, here's the thing. I know that this is of little solace to you, but you do know that there will be bad karma for all of that shit, To me, to get involved between a man and his wife just for your YouTube views, and how dare you interview her as if you're a trained psychologist. I found the whole thing, and I don't give a fuck that this is going to go out. I'm not scared of any of them. I found it utterly disgusting. It said more about those people than it said about you, Vaughn. It's just that you're only hearing their voices because everybody else thinks things, but they're too scared to say.
Well, and that's, like I said, that's the sad part about the whole damn thing. If someone years ago had spoken up and said, "Hey, this is wrong, y'all are fucking stupid." I mean, even Mr. Dark Zodiac spoke up and said, "Hey, we need to help Andrea, and this is not helping her." Even Mr. Dark Zodiac said that shit. But nevertheless, things happen the way they happen, and I cannot find my fingernail clippers. Where the hell did I put the damn things? Well, I'll do it later.
I didn't take any notice of the Kelly chat logs. I didn't take any. I know the stories and I know all the bits and the ins and outs, but I haven't actually looked at it in depth, so I just know a basic story.
Well, here's the thing, okay?
I know that I'm friends with Katie, and this might upset her, but
Well,
I find it weird that a grown man wanted to pretend to be a teenage girl in the first place.
Well,
That's just my opinion.
Well, exactly. What kind of mental state does a man have to be in order to portray himself as a little underage girl? I mean, that's pretty strange. I mean, even on a good day, that's pretty strange, you know. So yeah.
I don't agree with any of it. I think that if you really have concerns about someone's children,
call the cops.
Go to the authorities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, call the cops. And just like I did for Glenn's room, call the cops and have the cops deal with it. Now, unfortunately, the cops didn't do shit, but that's beside the point. The point is,
you see, the other thing with you're dealing with people they're basically bored because, you know, when I'm going out for lunch and I'm going to see my grandchildren or visiting friends, I haven't got time to be wondering how I can bring another person down.
Right.
It doesn't enter my head to cause misery because I'm a happy-go-lucky person.
Exactly.
So I do happy-go-lucky things.
Right, exactly.
You know, there's something fucking missing there anyway.
Exactly.
They've wasted the best part of 10 years of their life concerning themselves with you.
With a man in Kentucky that's never done anything to them. That's the irony. See, this is this is why they're going to fail. You know, see, they think in their minds, oh, well, even if he did take me to court, I'm going to win. No, they're not. They're not going to win because I've never done jack to them. I've never harmed them anyway. I've never said, I don't know, a lot of them I don't even know their real names. And now that Monty's in question and Agent 19 is in question, I probably got all that data wrong anyway. The only thing I know correct is that William Blount in Jay Stebio's live show on Yahoo, or not Yahoo, but Vaughn Live. Jay Stebio did a Vaughn Live, a live show on Vaughn Live, and William Blount, aka the Hippers, went into that live show, confronted me. We started arguing, and the Hippers admitted right there on a live chat live show said yes, I manipulated Andrea. Yes, I drove her insane. And when I challenged him on it, when I pushed him on it, he said he would gladly do it a second time. All right, so now what is this about? This is about a bunch of jealous old fucks that were jealous of the fact that I had a young, somewhat attractive wife, and they wanted to lash out. They wanted to get back at me, as it were, and that was the way they did it. And well,
you've also got to remember, though, because I just speak straight. If it offends people, then I can't help that. You've got to remember that some of your biggest critics. Let's look at the Bubba Effect. The Bubba Effect is not only accused of stalking one teenage girl, the Armory Channel's daughter, and making filthy videos about her. He sent my daughter a picture of his erect dick. Mm-hmm. He stalked my daughter for over, a decade, I'll say, because I believe the fucking idiot's still at it.
Right.
I believe he's undercover and he's still here. Mm-hmm. So there's the Bubba Effect. Do you remember a troll you had called Straight Jacket Psycho?
Yes, absolutely. I remember, honey.
Right.
Listen, when it comes to evil, I have a mind like a steel trap. I never forget an injustice ever. And all these people that think they're safe these past 15 years are in for a big surprise.
Well, let me tell you about Straight Jacket Psycho, what I found. And it's verified, and I can put it up and show it.
Okay.
Straight Jacket Psycho was actually prosecuted for neglect of a dependent child, which resulted in its death.
Oh, my God.
You didn't hear about. Oh, my God, yes, Vaughn. I thought you knew this.
The child is dead?
The child is dead.
Oh, my God.
But worse than that, Vaughn, this story gets a whole lot more shitty. That woman who was one of your biggest critics and who trolled my children along with the Triforce Troll Legion, she not only did that, but her ex-husband, I'm trying to think of his name, it'll come to me throughout the story, he actually committed suicide because he begged her, please let me come to our child's funeral. You have done all of this and you've robbed me of my child. Please let me come. and she wouldn't let him see that child one last time before it was buried. She had it buried and wouldn't tell him where it was buried. He committed suicide. I have a recording where I am speaking to his sister, who is in tears, telling me that horrible story. So these are your critics, Bon, but you won't hear them say that. Now, if I had the cheek to haunt you over your lifestyle, and then I found that my friend had been done for neglecting a child to the point of death, I would be ashamed. But they don't. They pretend they don't know about it. They just pretend they don't know, but they do know. Everybody knows.
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you're spiritual in any way, shape, or form.
I am very spiritual, Von.
But my gods informed me that I would see the destruction of my enemies. That I would physically see it in this lifetime, the destruction of all of my enemies, and I absolutely believe that 100%. And based on the story you just gave, it looks like the gods are handling the situation pretty damn good, actually.
Well, sad Felicia, which is Straight Jacket Psycho, she ended up dead. She had a bad heart, so I don't know whether that's karma. I don't know what you want to call it.
Wow.
I know.
Well,
She died about 4 years ago.
Listen. The gods I serve don't play. Okay, they don't. My own sister was going to come down here and take over my inheritance, and the gods rubbed her out. Man, they just took her out clean.
You do know the other one. Southern Raven died, don't you? You know she committed suicide.
Jennifer Souls is dead?
Yeah, she committed suicide 6 months ago.
Really?
Really? Go and look online. You can Google it.
Yeah,
Jennifer Souls.
Yeah, but a lot of people fake their death too. She might.
No. Trust me, she died.
Honey, listen. If you knew that an enraged father and a husband that lost his wife was gunning for you to throw your ass in prison for the rest of your natural life, you'd fake your death too. You know what I'm saying?
Von, listen. There's a hangout that is still up. She's on Fiction Fighters Hangout. She's crying, she's drunk, she's been thrown out of her house, she ended up homeless, she ended up sofa surfing on Paulie Customs. Is it Paulie Customs or Customs?
Right. Yeah,
right.
Paulie
She ended up sofa surfing at his house.
Right.
Then true. She went back to her boyfriend, and then he dumped her again. And no, it's real. This is verified. It's in papers, and you can see her family talking about it. It's verified.
Well, this
and
is
then you look at the Bubba effect.
Listen,
Bubba
this is going to sound.
Is now caught dicking two young girls.
Well, listen, this is going to sound cold as hell, but I'm sorry. I'm glad she's dead. Sorry.
Well,
I know that sounds cold as hell, but I'm sorry. I'm glad she's dead. When you sit there and plot to destroy a person's family and their life and their finances and everything. I'm sorry. I got no remorse for these people. None. Zero. They reached me too late. almost 20 years actually in some cases. Because, if you go all the way back to Delphi, it's almost 20 years. So I'm sorry. I have no remorse for these people. I have no forgiveness for these people. I am not a Christian. I am an eclectic pagan. And as far as I'm concerned, if the gods say they're going to take them out, then I say, hallelujah, take them out.
Well, the way I look at it is the major players, the really dirty players, they've had no personal luck. We've just discussed Southern Raven. We just discussed Straight Jacket Psycho. And then you've got the Bubba effect. He's been accused by 2 teenage girls of being a pedo. Nobody's squawking about that.
Right.
Who else is fucking hit Skid Row? Kenny Capizzi. Kenny Capizzi has just been catfished by a woman from the country I live in, Wales. And he's been in a year relationship with her, believing she was a size 8 burlesque dancer, to find that she was a big fat fucking bitch with a gaggle of kids, all different men.
So Kenny KPZ, the guy that started all this mess, is finding himself in hot water too.
Yes, what I'm trying to say is, look, none of them are having any luck. This is, you don't have to do anything for them. You know, yeah, I would do something because I'm very vengeant. I'm a, you know, when someone fucks with my kids, I'm coming.
Exactly.
And I don't give a fuck what they want to say about it.
Let me give my kids these breadsticks. They're chomping at the bit for these breadsticks. Let me give them their breadsticks. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this audio thing again. Hang on.
Right,
right. Hang on. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, anyway, now go ahead.
Yeah, the other person who's been exposed to be hypocritical when it comes to pointing dirty fingers about other people's families is crotch vomit, Molly Hawes. Her own daughter has said she is a no-good whore who dumped her as a child, who has given her the most horrific lifestyle that you can imagine, absolutely man-mad, sleeping her way across America, dumping children in her wake. She's got a whole load of court cases that Mrs. Anonymous Dick found. She's just a piece of trash. That's another person who was fucking with you. You know, you only got to look at it and it becomes evident that there's not many upstanding citizens.
Well, it was funny because when Google Plus still existed, they're on the last, just as Google Plus was getting ready to go down the toilet with all hands. I noticed their posts on Google Plus and Trolls, Haters, and Naysayers, where they were starting to post how, you know, they were having problems. This one guy, he got broke down on a bridge. His vehicle broke down on a bridge, and he didn't get any help for like several hours, and so he's literally stuck there on a bridge with no help and nowhere to go for hours on end. And in the meantime, he's losing all of his money because he's a contractor of sorts, and so he ended up losing hundreds of dollars over just that one little incident, and and then just on and on and on, all these horror stories. Where they started posting regularly all these horror stories. Now, whether they're real or not, I don't know, but it kind of shows me that the gods were keeping their word, because it was very, 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 very poignant, very, very direct. You will see the destruction of your enemies. You will see it. I will physically see it with my eyes. So, so you telling me that.
You do know Mike Schweizer has come back to put things right, don't you? He hasn't come to fight. He's come to put things right.
Well, see, here, let me tell you something, UK Troll, because a lot of people don't know this. My whole reason for being on YouTube was that I had heard that people were harassing little kids until they committed suicide. That's how I come to be on YouTube. I wasn't on YouTube because I stumbled across it one day. I was on YouTube because I had heard that people were harassing little kids until they committed suicide. And I'm obviously being a protector that I am, it's like, hey, I can't let this shit go on. So I got to see if this is true. Well, when I got to YouTube, guess who I bump into? I bump into Annie Hands White, Annie L. White, now they call her, and Last of the 813s, and Bubba Effect and his Smiley Posse. And sure enough, they were indeed harassing little kids, and allegedly at least one of those children did in fact die. Okay, so I think, him wanting to come back and admit to his sins and try to ask for forgiveness and try to fix things is admirable, but, I don't know. That's for the gods to decide.
Well, my child was actually harassed by the same gang that you've just mentioned.
Right.
But I have always said that the least offensive person towards my daughter was, in fact, Mikey Schweizer. I don't know whether he was one of the worst for you, but for me, he wasn't as bad as Bubba Effect, for example.
Well,
Crotch
now I will agree.
Psycho.
I will agree that Last of the 813s and Annie L. White. Annie L. White's what she goes by now, apparently. Because it used to be Annie Hands White, and I guess they changed it somewhere along the line. But yeah, I agree with you that those two particular individuals did not come after me like Bubba Effect and the Smiley Posse did. That is correct.
However, Bubba Effect and Crotch Vomit were the fucking dregs, and then you had Straight Jacket Psycho, who is related to Crotch Vomit. And you could tell they were both foul bitches, to be fair.
Right. Well, and apparently it sounds like the gods are dealing with them.
Forrest Jameson once was talking about coming and dealing with me, and that he had people in my area who would basically come to my home. And Straight Jacket Psycho was encouraging that shit and saying, oh yeah, I hope they kill her. She is just trash. She didn't know me from fucking Adam. So when then I hear these people are dead, I don't think, oh, fucking that's a pity. I just think, oh, well, there we go. But those are the same people that are opinionated about everyone else. And if you look at it, it's projection. We know that when Straight Jacket Psycho was screaming about to you about your childcare, we know she neglected her own child until it died.
Correct.
That is in court records.
Correct.
There's no getting away from that.
Well, it could be that Mr. Schweitzer has seen all of his former buddies end up dead, and is probably saying, hey, I don't want to end up dead like all these other trolls, so I better try to do something. Well,
I think it's a case of growing up and looking back and thinking, oh, that wasn't my finest moment. You know, he admits that he was a bit of an asshole.
Yes, but by your own testimony, my gods that I serve are literally killing my haters, and they're literally killing them dead. So perhaps Mr. Schweitzer has, quote unquote, seen the light and is hoping to not end up dead like the rest of them. But
Mike knows that Bubba Effect took things too far. You know, I've saved all of Bubba Effect's videos that he made to you. I have every video. I have a Facebook page, and I have over 37,000 followers. At this point, it is a private Facebook page. I am hitting the army pages. I'm hitting police pages. I'm going to find out who Bubba Effect is. No ifs, no buts. And I'll bet you when I do find him, he's a fucking felon, and that he was never an army ranger. I'll bet you he's the Valor Thief. I'll lay money on it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Valor Thief, because Darren Morrison, who really is a convicted criminal, is running around on YouTube under the handle Just Darren, and is claiming that I'm a Valor Thief, claiming that I've got stolen valor, when I have never, ever exaggerated about my service at any time. I have always stated that I was in the Army for 9.5 months, that I got out on a general discharge that was honorable after 6 months, and that I went into government work shortly thereafter. I have always said that. I've always maintained it. I've never changed my story one iota. But Just Darren has seen fit to go out here and trash talk me up one side, down the other. And now this guy named Big C, whoever the fuck he is, he's taken up the mantle. But not only is he disparaging my service, he's now disparaging my father's service, who was a World War II decorated veteran. And as you well know, there isn't too many World War II veterans left. So this Big C guy is really a piece of gutter trash. And I hope the World War II associations out there just take this guy and just grab him by the nuts and just squeeze as hard as they can.
I don't understand what mentality of a person sits at home concerning themselves to that degree about what somebody else is doing in their own house.
Well,
their life is slipping past them. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is one chance. One day they will lay in their beds if they're lucky, because getting old is a privilege not all of us get.
Right.
And they will look back and think about the days they sat there spewing bile and shit to people and what they could have been doing. My word's on. It always comes.
Well, the thing of it is, how many times have I told these assholes, hey, my gods don't play around. They will kill you, literally kill you, if you keep fucking with me, you know? And now I've got you telling me exactly that's exactly what the gods have been doing, has been killing them, slowly but surely, killing each and every one, just, you know, and I'm like, well, you know what this is for me? This is what we would call a confirmation. You are literally confirming everything that I've said out of my mouth concerning my gods, because my gods do not play around. If you fuck with me, you will die. Especially when you ruin a young girl's life, and when you harm these 3 kids back here behind me. And you know, and you know, of course, the trolls all laugh. Oh, your gods don't exist. Your gods can't touch me. Your gods this. Well, apparently, at least according to your own testimony, the gods are doing exactly that. They're killing them one at a time. And so if I was Mr. Schweitzer, and if I was Mrs. Anonymous Dick, and if I was Tiffany Moser, and if I was Aaron Gray, and if I was, Sean Merriman and Paul Wayman and some of these other assholes out there, I would be extremely worried. Not because of me, but because of what my gods will do to them. Because apparently, it sounds like my gods are not playing any games. They're taking out the trash, man. I mean, that, you know, according to, if I go by what your testimony is saying, sounds to me like that's exactly what's happening, man. Am I wrong?
I call it karma.
Yeah, well, karma, karma. What, you know, however you want to justify it. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's where the universe puts things right.
Yes.
The universe evens the score.
Yes. Long time coming, though. Unfortunately.
Sometimes, though, the best ones are when they're a long time coming, because the fall from grace is huge, isn't it?
They don't have a clue. They just don't have a clue. They really don't. They just don't have a clue. And
even though I was a bit skeptical of Mrs. Anonymous Dick, I've become friends with Mrs. Anon, and she's actually a normal person. You know, she's got young kids. Mm-hmm. Me and her got quite a lot in common, and I think that what sometimes happens is there are a group of people who are doing downright dirty things. You've got the people who don't mind being shown to do these things, and then you've got the people in the background.
Right.
And for me, the people in the background are as bad as the people in the foreground. They're just better hidden. They're not as outright. They're all, you know, if you cheerlead on a video where somebody is attacking somebody's family,
right,
and you're commenting there and you're not taking them to task, right, to me, you're as guilty as
them.
You're
as guilty. Well, and see, that's the courts. Really? The courts agree with that. Okay, what you're describing in a court of law is called accessory. All right, they are an accessory. You know, when you, in fact, here, I can't speak for the UK, but here in the States, if you see a crime in the process of being committed and you do nothing, you can actually go to jail right along with that criminal as an accessory, because you had the opportunity to stop it and you didn't do it. And so therefore you're just as guilty in a court of law as they are. Now, well, I don't know.
Here, the people who comment on the videos and encourage the others and who act like monkeys in zoos, flinging shit everywhere and cheering and squealing, they're done for aiding and abetting.
Right, aiding and abetting, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Aiding and abetting, an accessory, giving aid and comfort. You know, there's different ways to describe it, but it's essentially the same thing. You're not supposed to be helping someone commit a criminal act. You're just not. You're not supposed to be doing that shit. And if you are doing that shit, you need to cease and desist immediately.
But the fact that you'll always have people who want to do that. The internet is a wonderful place for these people. They can sit behind their monitors. They can throw these accusations out. They can get their little following and cheer and jeer each other on. But if you look at it, it's not unlike monkeys in a zoo throwing shit and throwing twigs at people and showing their asses off. It's very, if you put it into the animal world, that's what trolling is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, essentially, yeah, it is. It's what they call your baser self. You know, you've devolved to your baser self. They call it. And yeah.
Well, nobody can see you.
Well, see, I've been studying the psychology of these assholes because I wanted to know what made them tick. I wanted to find out. So I've slowly but surely amassed some information on why they do what they do, how they do what they do.
Well, it makes them feel better about themselves, Vaughn. What it is people who have deep-seated unhappiness within themselves. It's easier to go and find someone and make them more unhappy and to think, oh, there, I'm not as bad off as you. That for them is easier than actually confronting, hey, I haven't got a life. Maybe I'll go and join the library. Right. Perhaps I'll do some voluntary work.
Well, that's the irony of this whole thing. You know, because they'll say, well, you know, Vaughn doesn't have a job, Vaughn doesn't do this, Vaughn doesn't do that. And here I've been volunteering in soup kitchens, volunteering in hospitals, you know, working with community groups. I mean, my record, I'll stand on my record any day because I am on record helping just about anybody you can think of and doing just about anything that you can think of. Not only that, but, you know, I went all over the United States. I went to several states and, you know, helping people and doing things, you know. And now it's going to hurt me in the long run because I don't have a lot of money in my Social Security account. But you know, I can say I did my job helping people and went out there and did what I needed to do. And nobody can take that away from me, and certainly not no troll on the internet. But
you go to sleep the nice feeling, don't you?
Exactly. I can go to sleep at night without any problems because I know I'm a good person and I know I've been helping people all these years. You know, so they can sit there and scream, oh, we ain't got a job. Well, they can scream that till they're blue in the face, but I know what I've done. And furthermore, you know, now that I'm disabled, I mean, there ain't nobody going to hire me no way.
But it shouldn't concern them to the degree that it concerns them.
Well,
yes, have an opinion, but to spend 10 years making video after video spouting the same fucking shit.
Right.
I just don't know how they can be bothered, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. That's why I don't get involved in that stuff.
And stuff that's already been proven wrong in a court of law. That's the important thing. I mean,
yeah, but they don't care about that. That's the thing.
Right, exactly.
When they're calling me child stalker, and then I say, hang on a minute, Felicia Myers was actually prosecuted where a child in her care died in neglectful circumstances, then they all shut up. Right. Or they change the subject and go to a different fucking accusation. Well, that's just what they say.
Well, exactly right. It's like with all this Kelly bullshit. When they bring up the Kelly bullshit, I said, well, Mr. Anonymous Dick was covering for his buddy Glenn's room, who really was a pedo, who really was chatting up underage girls on his live show. For sex, was he? Yes. So, I mean, you know, and like I said, we got video of that. You know, there's actual video of that. It's absolutely confirmed. And, you know, but yet, instead of going after Glenn's room, they come after me. Why? Because he wanted to protect his buddy Glenn's room. I guess, I'm thinking he probably felt that I was getting close to finding out what Glenn's room was doing. And he was afraid that I would call the cops or spill the beans or something or put it all over the internet. And he didn't want that, so he come after me. Now, Mrs. Anonymous Dick, who you claim was the person we were talking to on that one channel,
That was Katie. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well now she says, oh, well, Mr. Anonymous didn't know Glenn's room. Well, that's a flat-out lie, because Mr. Anonymous Dick, Glenn's room, and a couple others, and myself were all in a Skype call together, so I know that's bullshit. So yeah, he was covering for his buddy Glenn's room, who really was a pedo, an actual bona fide pedo, but instead of making 100 YouTube videos, I just called the cops. You know, that's what I done. You know, but like I said, there is absolute 100% proof that Glenn's room was indeed chatting up underage girls on his live show. That is confirmed by Blog TV, because Blog TV, when they found out who he was talking to, they moved them to Blog Junior, which when they still had Blog Junior at the time. This was years ago. And so Blog TV is not going to move these girls to Blog Junior if they're adults, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's really all the proof you need right there. But I mean, you know, like I said, we've got video evidence, we've got textual evidence, we've got posts, we've got all kinds of shit on Glenn's room. But none of these trolls will take up any of this evidence in regards to Glenn's room. Why? Because they're protecting their buddy. Glenn's room's one of them, and they're protecting him. And that's just the way it is. And I need to get another Mountain Dew. So hang on. I'm not going to bother muting. I'm just going to run to the kitchen real quick.
Carry on.
It'll only take me about a second. I'll be right back.
No problem.
Now, you're like 8 hours ahead of me, so if you need to sign off for any reason, just let me know.
No, I'm good for it. I'm making a spliff while we're talking, so I'm good for a bit if you're good.
I'm fine. I'm good to go.
Here's the thing, though, what I wanted to say about Gam, and I'm not going to slag her off because I don't tend to cross swords with former friends, but I will say, be careful that Gam isn't telling you things that suit her agenda.
Right.
You know, just be mindful of why somebody might be helping you out.
Well, yeah. Well, 15 years. 15 years will change a person and inform a person, and I am much more informed and much more aware than I was 15 years ago. So, I totally agree with what you just said. I watch, I observe who they talk to when I'm not around. And they think I don't know. They think I don't know where they're hiding. I do know where they're hiding. But they think I don't know. And that's fine with me. I hope they continue to believe that, because that helps me, not them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought I was pretty good friends with Gam. I found over this last couple of months not so. And I've inadvertently been caught up in some of the fights, because what's happened is me and Gam were both going after the people who had stalked my children, which is Crotch Vomit, Bubba Effect, etc.
Right.
So as far as I was concerned, that's what we were doing. But then while I slept, because of the difference in time, she was going over and attacking your enemies, like George Bush Pimps, Ken Peasy, Father Judgment. Mm-hmm. I was then waking up in the morning being called all kinds of tramps and things, and I would think, why are you fucking starting on me? And then they would say, oh, you're a Von retard. And I think, I haven't even fucking spoken to Von. Why are you saying this?
Yeah.
I now realise that inadvertently I was getting caught up in the cross.
Okay, let me
no, Von. I do not like what they do, not just to you, to other people. I don't like this gang mentality.
Okay, well let me address that. All right, because you bring up a very salient point. And I've noticed this in other circumstances. A person can talk to me one time. One time, a person can talk to me one time, and oh my God, it's Vontard. Because if they don't disagree with me immediately on everything I say, then they are a Vontard. You know, despite the fact that I have plenty of people out there that disagree with me on various other points. And we're still friends. We still get along. But see, that's the real world. That's not the internet. The internet, for some reason, is sort of encapsulated in many respects. But the point is that, I can talk to a person one time, and if that person does not categorically disagree with everything I say, oh, they're a vantard, and the trolls will go after them. They really will. And especially if they're a young, somewhat attractive female. I have gotten back many, many, many replies telling me how women have been brutally, verbally assaulted by these people. Oh, that Von Hilton's going to kill you and put you in a freezer, and he's going to rape you, and he's going to beat you, and and my own ex-wife Andrea was the same way. She told me that same thing, how the trolls had approached her and told her I was going to kill her, and she come up here anyway. And it took them 4 years, 4 years and a half, something like that, before they finally managed to drive her nuts. But of course, CPS.
And that's nothing to be proud of, Von, though. That's something to be fucking shamed of.
Yeah, well, of course,
no decent person would rejoice in that.
Right. Well, they rejoice in it every day. That's the funny part about it. They're online. I guarantee you, they're on right now, laughing about the very thing. And speaking of secular opinion, Mr. Ernie Chrysler, he's I've got several of his hangouts where they're calling Andrea a slut, a whore, a bitch, and everything else you can think of. That's his hangouts, So please, I hope it's true. I hope he really does take me to court next month, because if he does, he's going to lose. Because all I got to do is show the judge this hangout he had where they're calling my ex-wife every name in the book. Now supposedly I made death threats to Mr. Chrysler. Well, we all know that's not true because I don't make death threats. But that's his allegation, and I hope to God he does take me to court, because if he does, he's going to lose miserably.
I don't think I've ever watched one of his videos or even read one of his comments. I've heard of him. I've seen people mention him. I know he's heavy in that group.
Yeah, secular opinion, all one word, secular opinion.
And I'll tell you another one, Von, on the subject of karma. One of your trolls who actually interviewed your wife, called Victoria Thomas.
Right.
Do you remember the girl who used to talk all like this and say, oh, but Von. Right.
Yeah.
I've just exposed her. I put a recording up about a year ago.
Is that Molly?
She had sex with a 14-year-old boy when she was 29 years of age. These people cannot be pointing the fingers about paedophiles. There's 4 fucking dodgy people in their group straight from the off. So I think that really, Von, you've got to keep fucking like water off a duck's back and just know that the universe will even it all up. It always does.
Now this was that Molly person that talks real nice.
No, that's Crotch from it. There's another one. She was with Babs and...
No. The Molly I'm talking about is a different Molly. I'm not talking about Crotch Vomit. I'm talking about a different Molly.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
And she's like, oh, well, Von, she's from the UK also, or Australia or something. She's like, oh, Von, da 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 da, and I'm not really your troll, but she is. I mean,
Yeah.
Molly something. She goes by Molly something on YouTube. I can't think of the rest of it, but anyway, it's mood issue because we're not talking about that Molly. I don't think. I don't know what was her name on YouTube. This person.
Well, Molly Hawes is Crotch from it, but there was another one called Victoria Thomas.
Victoria Thomas.
She also was, not Oliver Cromwell. Who was the other one with Oliver Cromwell? Jean Brodie.
Jean Brodie. Mm-hmm.
She's had a few names. She was a UK Muppet.
Oh, okay.
But I exposed her and I've proven it. I've got the boy on audio admitting that when he was 14, he had sex with her. She was 29. I then went and recorded her father, and we discussed her parenting, and he admitted her children were dirty, neglected, underfed, that he had himself reported her to Child Protective Services.
Oh, my God.
And the only reason he had anything to do with her was because he had to keep in touch with the grandchildren because he was seriously concerned about them.
Right, right.
You can hear all those recordings, Von. They're on my channels. That was another person who was going after you.
Mm-hmm.
And she was one of your biggest critics. So the way I look at it is, a lot of what is going on is projection.
Right.
For them to come up with these things in their mind, for what I'm trying to say is I'm sat here now talking to you, and the things that I'm expressing to you through my mouth are the things that are going through my brain. Agreed?
Right, right.
Well, if I'm sat here thinking, oh, I bet he's fucking his children, and I bet he's doing this, and oh, I bet he fucking beats his wife.
It's in their mind, yeah.
Have to be in my mind.
Right, exactly.
For me to think those things.
And not just in their mind, but in their heart as well.
Well, it comes from within, because you just don't think like that unless you're like that. And I found time and time again that my biggest critics, when you actually put them under the microscope, everything they've accused me of as being projection. That's why I don't take notice about what people are saying about you.
Exactly right.
I don't, because
here, for the record, okay, let's get this out here for the record. I am a model citizen. Now, I don't know if you're aware what that term means, so I'll explain it to you. A model citizen is someone that they don't have a criminal record. I literally have no criminal record whatsoever in the state of Kentucky. I have never broken a law. I have never committed anything. Now, the trolls kept calling CPS out here in an effort to try and make sure I broke the law, but I have never, ever broken the law. I don't even have as much as a traffic ticket. I have never been implicated in a crime in any way. So I am literally a model citizen in every respect. Now, not only that, but all my supposed abused children are all getting straight A's. They are, in the elementary equivalent of the honor roll, if you will. Now here lately, one of my daughters is having some problems, but we're going to fix that. Her grades kind of dropped a little bit. Of course, they transferred to a different school, so I'm really not that concerned. But, putting that aside, my kids who supposedly were abused, yeah, there was some abuse took place, but it took place by foster care. When my children were in foster care, and I eventually got them back over a month later, they would scream bloody murder all night. Bloody in this case, it'd be an American term. Just thought I'd clarify that. But, they would scream bloody murder all night for weeks on end. And so I went and looked it up on the internet, and it's called night terrors. And so my kids had night terrors for weeks on end after that. Can you imagine what that would do to the psychology of my wife, having to endure that? Okay, and then plus CPS on top of her. The trolls are after her. My mother's family was after her, and everybody was just dogpiling on her. And she snapped. She literally snapped. It was too much, and she literally snapped. And she ended up in an insane asylum in Middlesboro, Kentucky. And since then, she's been transferred to a mental institution in Alabama, as far as I know. And she hears voices in her head telling her to kill her husband and kids. That is on record. Well, where did that come from? Did that come from me? Would I tell her to kill me? No, I don't think so. Okay, so where the hell did that come? Yeah, so where'd that come from?
The pressure put on your family, I kind of had a taste of it with what they did to my children, and not the same group, mind. It wasn't George Bush Pimp and Co., but I did have the Bubba Effect and a couple of the others. It's just reprehensible, and the fact that they can't see it, get carried away in the moment, maybe have a couple of days at doing this shit, but to continue it for a fucking decade.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Something fucking wrong. There's something very fucking wrong.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. When I take these assholes to court, there's they have no defense. They literally have no defense, because the first thing my lawyer is going to ask them when they're on the witness stand is, okay, what did Mr. Von Helton do to you to cause you to do what you're doing to him? and they're going to say, because I've never done anything to these clowns. I never until they attack me.
It's a lack of empathy, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got to be somewhat psychopathic to go after somebody with the intent of ruining their lives, and that is exactly what the intent was.
That's exactly. They intended to ruin my life, and they did. Sadly, they succeeded. They ruined me.
Remember this, though, Von. They also ruined their own lives because some of them have had nothing but bad luck.
Yes.
The rest of them are wasting their life. One day they're going to look back, and these moments where they're making memes and doing all of this shit about you, those are times they could have been telling their loved ones that they loved them, or go out and fucking look at the clouds, go and look at the fucking autumn leaves, anything.
Exactly. So, or commune with the gods, which would be a really good thing to do. But
or just mind your fucking business and do some housework.
Right. Well, here's the thing, okay? The thing of it is, okay, is that everything that they've done, I'm going to get back threefold because I believe in a threefold law. And it's like, okay, I lost my first marriage. I don't know if you're aware of this, but my first marriage to Pamela Sue, I lost both of my sons. Both of my sons died. One died just prior to birth, and the other one died immediately after birth, an hour and 15 minutes after birth. Okay, so one of them didn't even get a name, and the other one did get a name. His name is Clayton Eugene, and he's buried in Hamilton, Ohio Children's Cemetery. But I lost two sons, okay? And so the threefold law says you get back threefold what you've lost. Okay, so now I've already got half of the kids that I will be getting back because 2, 4, 6. Okay, threefold law says I got 6 kids coming. Okay, well, I already got 3 from Andrea. And so this next person I get will give me the other 3 or more, because you can have more than, it's a threefold law. You can, so a minimum of 6 children. So I'm going to get back more children than I've lost, despite what these trolls have done. I'm going to get back, I've lost 2 wives now, so I'm going to get all them wives back threefold. So I'm going to get 6 wives back if the pattern holds true. So apparently bigamy laws are going to be disillusioned, and we'll be able to have multiple wives again, which that's another story for another day. But anyway, so I'm going to get all this back. I'm going to get all the money that I've lost back threefold. I'm going to get my children back. I'm going to get my wives back. I'm going to get back everything, all my finances. Everything these motherfuckers have done to me is all coming back. And in addition to that, the gods, if they see fit to do so, will kill them to make sure that they never do this again. Because when you literally destroy a young 20-year-old girl's life forever, that is unforgivable. There is no...
Just because you want to fuck with her husband and you want to fucking have a laugh.
Yeah. But yeah, isn't that what they said? The lulz, L-U-L-Z? Well, what is that? That's laughter, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, but you know what? I'm telling you, one day, each and every one of them will have cause and personal misery. It can be anything. I had cancer 3 years ago. I was diagnosed with lymph node cancer. I refused chemotherapy. I did it with cannabis oil. I had radiotherapy. I take drugs now that stop the cancer returning. I'm perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
But when that happened to me, I actually sat and thought, what the fuck have I done? And I looked at my whole life and looked back at all the moments and thought, oh, that time I was short-tempered with my mum, and when I told my dad I hated him, all those things came to me. Now, thankfully, I had nothing really sinister to regret.
Right.
But you look at it, one day something will happen. It might be that one of their family gets ill, or they get ill, or they lose everything, and they will have cause to sit and reflect why that is how they've ended up. Guaranteed it.
Well, see, you got a couple of them out there, at least 2 that I'm aware of. You got this Dragonaut guy. or not Dragonaut, but Dragon something or other. Dragonaut's a black dude. The other guy's a white dude. The guy I'm talking about is a white dude, but Dragonaut is a black guy. But anyway, this Dragon something or other guy, he had his daughter personally get involved with harassing me and mocking me and ridiculing me. And then you got Sherry226, one of Nick Bravo's trolls, who also trolled me, and she got her daughter involved in it too. Well, see, that's child endangerment, that's child manipulation, that is coercion, that is contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
It's also fucking pathetic.
And it's pathetic, right? But it's a crime. It's an actual crime, and these people don't understand that. They'll argue with you all day long. I never committed no crime. Well, according to
here's the thing, Von. It's easy when you sit behind your computer to pretend to be something you're not. I bet you any money you like, if you went and stood in your worst enemy's town, your worst critic's town, and you said, see that motherfucker there? He did this to my wife. He said this. They did that. Those people would be fucking ashamed. They're only not ashamed because they're in their homes. You know, there's nobody seeing really what they're doing.
Let me tell you,
if you took this shit to their real lives, you can bet your fucking life they wouldn't want to be linked to it.
Let me tell you something, and I can speak from experience because I've lived it. If this was the 1970s, and they were saying this shit about my wife or about my kids or about anything like that, the community would handle these assholes.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, let's go talk behind the barn. You know what I'm saying? You know, this shit would have never got to where it is.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Von. I think that what you forget when you're in amongst it is it's only a certain section of society who actually read the drivel that they write, who actually watch the videos. You know, it's a certain kind of person with a certain kind of mindset, because anyone decent would see what they're doing and think, you pathetic fucking arsehole.
Right.
You're a grown man.
Right.
You sound pathetic. You'll be flinging shit round next. You know, you fucking animal. But because they're hidden on the internet, now in your shoes, how I would have dealt with these fuckers, I would have took it to their hometowns. I would have made sure that I got their fucking names, where they worked, where they lived, and all of their community would be receiving them and seeing videos of how they behave. I would hold a mirror up to them in their own fucking community. It's easy when you're anonymous.
Well, see, that's the problem is, you know, you don't know about you know, when somebody gives you the docs on somebody, you don't know if you're getting the real information on them or not. You know,
but then learn how to look yourself. When I first came here, I couldn't even keep the mouse on the monitor.
Right.
That's how inept I was, you know. It was ridiculous. I couldn't even take a screenshot. And now I can do all those things because I've had to.
Right.
And I'm also a pretty good fucking investigator.
Yeah,
Some people call it stalking. Well, when you come and poke your nose in and you want to keep pictures of my children on your hard drive and you want to stalk my children, bet your fucking sorry ass I'm going to get to know every one of your family and your goldfish.
Yeah, it's like, you know, somebody asked me, said, are you really going to sue these motherfuckers? I said, hell yes, I am. And I'm going to get their little dog, too, if I can get it. You know, but I'm going to put them where they belong. I mean, where do trolls belong? They belong in a box under a bridge, right? I mean, isn't that how the old stories say? They say the trolls lived in a box under the bridge. So that's where I'm going to put the motherfuckers.
For me, going through what I went through with my daughter and my mother and father and whatnot, I decided that I would take a leaf out of the Art of War book. And the Art of War says, look how your enemy seeks to destroy you, and you will know his greatest fear. So I revisiting their own shit on them. You know, you expose them for what they are. They end up embarrassed, you know. You fucking post the videos that they're making into their community with the backstory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These people have targeted. This is the backstory. You got a man who lives in Kentucky, who's over 50, who has children and a young wife, and you have this group of people from all corners of the stalkers, from all corners of the internet, who spend literally 8 hours a day discussing every aspect of this man's life and making fun and parodies. I'd fucking expose them in their own communities.
Well, unfortunately, that they can spin that though and say, "Oh, well, if you only knew how crazy he was."
They wouldn't. Trust me, Von. Von, listen. You know, picture this. Try to go into their heads, which I know is hard because you can't. But picture this: you're sat in the pub, and some bloke says to you, "I fucking just read about you. You're the one who's been teasing that fucking young girl. You're the ones who told that girl to leave her husband and yada, yada, yada." They'd be fucking embarrassed.
Yeah, but like I said, though, they'd spin it. They'd say, "Oh, well, you don't understand. She was in mortal danger. Bond was going to kill her just any second." I mean,
yeah, but you make sure that when you present the facts that you cover that eventuality. Yeah, you say, of course, these people will make out they were doing a public service. Right. However, what kind of public service to not call Child Protective Services or the police and actually go and put your name to one of these complaints? Never mind your anonymous fucking nonsense. Right. If you're telling the truth, you would not have an issue giving your name and making a statement.
Well, exactly right. And yet, according to CPS's own records, not one of them is on record giving their real name, their real address, their real phone number. Not a single one of them. So,
you know, if I could save a child around here and I knew there was a child in mortal danger, I would be proud to give my name.
Exactly. Exactly, and that just shows that they knew these. I mean, anybody would know that these kids are not. I mean, I'm not going to go out. Why would I go out and save somebody else's child and not save my own? That is so fucking stupid. You know, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. You know, but yet they're gonna sit there and say, "Oh, well, he's abusing his kids, he's mistreating his kids are gonna die, they're locked in a fucking cellar," and all this other stupid shit. Well, in the meantime, I'm out there saving other people's kids, literally saving their lives, and saving some adults too, by the way, you know, in community service and various and sundry other things. And it just blows my mind that they could go to that extent, that they could say, well, you know, okay, well, so what if he's saving other kids' lives? He's abusing his own kids. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous on its face.
Let's play devil's advocate here and let's pretend that this group of people really do have some empathy for children who they see as not being very well treated. If they really felt like that, they would be fucking off in their community helping children. They would be doing the Christmas box for the African children, or go and volunteer at the food bank. Actually do something that helps these fucking people.
Exactly.
That's people right. Who are really trying to help don't sit round on the internet in a group of people discussing ways in which they can get somebody to fucking rage.
Well, you know, just one trip. This is just one trip. One trip to Pennsylvania. I fed the homeless. I volunteered in a hospital. I helped the EMT. I didn't become an EMT because I wasn't there long enough, but I helped the EMT folks. Helped with first aid, helped with crisis management. I've helped with floods, I've helped with fires, I've helped with all kinds of emergency situations, literally saving people's lives. And that was just one trip to Pennsylvania that I took. Okay, that's just one. That's not counting all the other states that I've been to and done things. And, I guess I figure when I go to these states, I've just got my thumb up my ass and I'm not doing anything, which is not the case. Now, as a side issue, I was going to these other states in the process of trying to find me a girlfriend, but that's beside the point. Point is that while I'm there, I didn't stick my thumb up my ass. I was actually out there doing things, helping people, doing what I could to be an upstanding citizen, because I believe in that. I believe in being an upstanding citizen. So, and like I said before, I'll put my experience and all that I've done for my country up in front of anybody. I'll put it in front of anybody, because I can show where I've helped all kinds of people all over the world, literally. Let them say one word about me in court, because they'll lose automatically. They will automatically lose in court.
They lost the minute that they became obsessed with you, because it is an obsession now.
Yes.
I think you can safely say
Yes.
that this has gone beyond the lols.
Well,
this is fucking obsession. There's no other word for it.
Well, that was the point I brought up some time back. I said, now listen, a normal person, and see if you agree, but a normal person. Okay, let me take I'll take my own self for an example. All right, we caught just Darren Morrison. We caught him on another channel dressing in drag, dressing up as a woman. All right, now, did I go out and make hundreds of YouTube videos mocking him for doing that sort of thing? No, I did not. I could have, but I didn't do that. And there's another guy on YouTube who actually literally believes he is Jesus Christ. I could have made all kinds of hate videos about that guy. Didn't do it. There's another guy who believes he's Elvis. I could have done that guy too. Didn't do it. But yet these people would make hate videos about these people. So now what does that tell you about the mentality and the mindset of these individuals? And versus my mindset, because I could have dissented into madness like these assholes did. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in that sort of thing,
Well, as you were talking then, I've just pulled up obsession, the dictionary definition. The state of being obsessed with someone or something. Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that this has gone on a decade and they haven't found anything else to have lols about, well, it says that they must be pretty idiotic, because you can't spend 10 years laughing at the same shit, surely. Mm-mm. And the fact that they're fucking wasting their lives doing it. If I was you, Vaughn, I would carry on doing what I was doing. I would sit back and just watch karma, fate, the universe, whatever you want to call it, watch it do its shit. And it seems to me they're not fucking coming out of it very well right now,
Apparently not, because a good portion of them are dead. So apparently not.
And the other half are exposed as hypocritical child abusers who have no business. That with at least two people who've accused you of some pretty bad shit, they have by their own, one by a court and one by your own father, they have been labelled as neglectful parents. Mm-hmm. And in the case of Victoria Thomas, worse than a neglectful parent. Mm-hmm. A damn right fucking shitty fucking nasty thing. Mm-hmm. And that, incidentally, is the girl who was catfishing Kenny Capizzi.
Well, here's the thing. See, here's another thing that's going to get these assholes. And it's one of the reasons why I need to take it to court. Is because, see, here's the thing. All right. Every year that they called CPS out to my house, that took resources away from CPS to help other people. Right. So, as a result, and this, like I said, this is from a Kentucky congresswoman, okay? This is not me talking. This is straight from a Kentucky congresswoman who I personally talked to on the phone. All right, and here's what she told me. She said that their resources are limited. So every time a call was made out to my house, it took CPS workers away from a real danger where children were really in danger and really in trouble. So to make a long story short, we figured it up at an average of 18 children a year. Okay, so this has been going on for 9 years. So 9 times 18, that's what, 27?
Yeah.
27, I think. 9, 18, 27, or no, 9, let's see, 9 times, yeah, 9, 8,
9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 81.
81, okay, 81 kids. So a minimum of 81 children are dead, literally dead, as a result of all these trolls calling CPS out to my house for these 9 years. Literally dead, okay? Not to mention the fact that every time they call CPS and the police out to my house, it costs the Kentucky taxpayer a minimum of $1,000. Okay, so we're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and at least 81 dead children, if not higher. So somebody has to pay for that, and it sure as hell ain't going to be me. Okay, so the Kentucky is definitely looking to go after these assholes and to get them to at least pay back the money that they've used, because they've used a shit ton of money. But moreover,
and karma is keeping score anyway.
Well, yeah, like I said, because now, at least according to your testimony, the gods are outright killing these people over what they've done to Andrea and my children and possibly others as well. Just flat out killing.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I wouldn't say I believe in God as in a man with a fucking lightning bolt coming through his fingers, zapping people. But I do believe that the universe, God, whatever you want to call that spiritual thing, I do believe that it does keep score, and that people who do dirty things with intent generally get their comeuppance and get cause to regret. There's you can hurt somebody because you're selfish and thoughtless. That's a different thing to going out of your way to intentionally cause misery to another person. Of course I've hurt people. I'm a human being. We've all hurt people, but I don't think I've ever intentionally sought out someone with the express desire to fucking hurt them or cause them misery. Right. It's just not in I can't even comprehend that anyone would want to. But of course, if you fuck with my kids, then I will show you the wrath of hell, and I won't care when you start crying foul. You fucking set the yard stick, and I'll fucking take the yardstick from you and go a mile further.
Well, like I said, based on what you've told me, sounds like there probably won't be anybody left for me to sue, because it sounds like the gods are just taking them out one right after the other.
When we finish the call, I'll send you some of the links to the
obituaries.
Yeah, and I'll send you the link to Straight Jacket Psycho as well, to her court case about neglecting children. And
Right. Yeah, just put it on Skype here. I'll get it. But it's crazy. It's crazy. I hear what you're saying, and you're telling me all this, and it keeps ringing in my ears. You will see the destruction of your enemies. You'll see it. And it's like, damn. It's coming to pass, man. I mean, like I said, Mr. Mike, and some of these other trolls, man, they better be concerned, very concerned, because
Mike is genuinely, I think, and Katie's not your Mrs. Anonymous, Dick. She's not that, but she's not a bad person at all. In fact, I've now been speaking to her probably daily for fucking hell, it got to be about over a year. I'm a pretty good judge of character. Yet I fell short with Gam. That's just because I wasn't keeping my eye on what was happening in other sections of YouTube. So it's not that I'm stupid. It's just that I don't go round concerning myself in things that don't concern me.
Well, exactly right. I mean, You don't see me chasing these trolls around everywhere they go because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in stalking people, because it is stalking. Let's be clear. It is definitely
It's
stalking.
quite flattering, isn't it, Vaughn, if you think about it?
To a certain
That
extent, yeah.
I get out of bed and I think, oh, where's the coffee? Right, let's sort the kids, get her off to school. Oh, I'll have something to eat, make a spliff, take the dog for a walk.
Right.
They get up and think, oh, let's go and see what Vaughn's been doing.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
You
Let's
should,
see.
you should be flattered, Vaughn.
Well, I am to an extent, I guess, but it's the kind of flattery that I'd really rather not have,
Well, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very strange. Very strange.
But that tells you that there's nothing in their life, because if there was something in their life, who would choose to stalk around and worry about what Von Helton in Kentucky is doing rather than living your own life? If you had somebody to go out with a friend, you'd go out with a friend.
Well, that's probably going to be one of the first questions that the judge is going to ask. Is going to be like, you spent 15 years of your life on an old man in Kentucky that did nothing to you? Are you fucking insane? I can see the judge. I can see the judge. He's behind the podium there, and he's looking down at these assholes, and he's like, you mean to tell me you wasted 15 years of your life over a man in Kentucky that's never done anything to you, that doesn't even know who the fuck you are? And, I can see it. I can actually see it in my mind's eye. The judge is giving them the riot act because of, if for no other reason than the fact that they wasted 15 years of their damn life,
And now they're wasting his time having to listen to this shit.
Well, the thing of it is that, the judges down here don't play. I mean, especially when it comes to little kids. See, that's something I mentioned in one of my previous videos. If they had just went after me, they probably would get off pretty good, actually. I'd still sue them, but I wouldn't be able to sue them for very much. But they'd probably do all right, actually. I'd probably sue them for $100,000, and they'd pay it and go on their merry way. But see, now that they've, messed with my kids all these years, the judges down here don't play when it comes to kids. I mean, that puts a whole new paradigm on the thing. And so now obviously the monetary amount goes way up when there's kids involved. So, I look for them to not be able to pay whatever my attorney decides to sue them for, and they're going to end up going to jail as a result. And when the criminals in the jail cell finds out, hey, these guys molested got a bunch of kids molested, they're not going to be around much longer, man, because those criminals don't mess around, buddy.
Here's the thing as well, though, Vaughn, that it was a pretty mad moment, wasn't it? The Smiley era. Mm-hmm. YouTube has calmed down a lot. It was like the fucking Wild West, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was.
They're not able to carry on like they used to be able to. They're churning out the video after video, just continually making channels, and that, those days are past. Mm-hmm. But Karma is now fucking giving everyone a kick up the arse. And I just hope that you don't take too much in off people who are telling you things, and look at why they're telling you. Have they got their own agenda?
Dude, I am serious as a heart attack. If I was Sean Merriman or Paul Wayman or Ernie Chrysler or any of these assholes that were either directly or indirectly involved in the destruction of my marriage and driving Andrea insane, I'd be scared shitless after hearing your testimony. Because you have clearly shown that the gods I serve are not playing around. They will kill your ass in order to justify what you've done to poor Andrea and by extension my family. Because apparently they're taking out the trash, man. Holy shit,
Here's the thing, though, and karma is a funny thing, and fate is a funny thing. For the last 10 years, well, no, not 10 years, the last, say, 5 years, I have been attacked, being accused of being a Vontard. I've had Southern Raven calling me all the whores under the sun. Yeah, I was with the same man for 14 years. The one before that I was married to, and I was with him for 14 years, which is pretty fucking fall short of a whore. She attacked me because of the Von stuff, and I was never a Von. As you know, this is the first time you and I have really ever exchanged on my opinion, and it's the first time I've ever really given an opinion on what's been going on. I think earlier today I touched on it. Well, how ironic that now here I am and I really am giving my opinion. Now, if that wants to flare up the call of you're a Vontard, knock yourselves out. I've heard a lot worse. I don't give a fuck. But I'm entitled to my opinion, like they're entitled to express their opinion. But I had never expressed my opinion until today.
Well,
so
the irony is that a lot of these people are ended up dead. So even if they wanted to, they couldn't respond to it now anyway because they're dead.
And there are some, and the ones who aren't dead, a lot of them, there's a lot of big shit going on for them. You've got Vicky exposed as having sex with a 14-year-old boy when she was 29.
Oh, God.
And her own father saying that he has to keep eyes on the grandchildren because he's terrified that they're being neglected.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
Yeah. Felicia Myers prosecuted for neglect of a dependent who went on to die.
Yeah, that's just sad, man.
What a shower of shit.
That's unforgivable. So I'm sorry, that's unforgivable.
And you know, people will say, oh, you shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Well, you didn't mind when these people were posting my father on their fucking Facebook, on their Google Plus pages with the devil coming out of him.
Right.
You didn't mind when you were posting up my mother. And
they posted pictures of me laying in a casket dead, right? You remember that?
Yeah, I've seen. There's a Facebook page, Mr. Dark Zodiac, I believe.
Yeah. Mr. Dark Zodiac still has that picture up, as far as I know, of me laying in a casket dead.
Yeah.
And the irony is that I'm going to end up outliving every damn one of them because the gods apparently are going to just put them under the sod, one right after the other.
And if you took let's take that picture of you in the casket, just as an example. If you took that to aliens and said, look, there's a group of 40-odd-year-old men on Earth who find this stuff funny. Would you like to come and communicate with them? They'd say, fuck off. Keep them away from us.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
It's not very promising, is it?
Okay, well now you notice that Mike jumped me over being a conspiracy theorist, all right?
Right.
You know, he was saying, well, let's see, I just happened to be here. Let me scroll up and see what because I don't want to misquote him. I don't want to misquote him, so let me find his exact phrasing here. Let me find it here, because I don't want to misquote the guy.
Hey, while you're looking, Von, can I ask you a question?
Feel free.
How did you find Last of the 813's video this morning? Was you just searching in YouTube, yeah?
No, it's ironic. I just happened to be on YouTube at the time, and his video was in the outside of YouTube.
Right, okay.
Like I said, the gods I serve literally will let me see the destruction of my enemies. Literally. I'm literally going to see the destruction of my enemies. And so they pointed me in the right direction, I reckon, because it was there on the outside. You know, when you click on the YouTube banner, you get all these video recommendations to watch. and his just happened to be there, and it's like, holy shit, I know that name. Last of the 813s, I know that fucking name. And so I hopped on as soon as I found out.
I have to say, again, I'll say it for Mike, he wasn't the worst of them. Bubba Effect and Crotch Vomit,
Right.
Straight Jacket Psycho, those were the three. Wow, and Southern Raven was pretty hardcore as well, you know.
Right.
But then I'm learning, and people are telling me now that Gam was attacking Southern Raven, so I'm not sure if Southern Raven was attacking me because she decided I was a Vontard,
I don't know.
or whether she was attacking me because I was Gam's friend. I'm not sure.
Okay, well,
I never said a word to her. She just popped up on one of my videos and started calling me all the tramps under the sun.
Right. Okay, well, I found Mike's quote, so let me read it.
Go on.
You ruined your own life every time you opened your own mouth. The world didn't need to know half the shit you tell everyone. You are your own worst enemy, and the need to evaluate your video and posting and you need to evaluate your video and posting choices. Maybe take a step back and turn your computer off for a few days. Nobody but yourself caused your wife to leave. Okay, that is complete and utter bullshit, and I'll tell you why. Like I told him in my response, do you really believe that I'm the only conspiracy theorist on Earth? I mean, seriously. Obviously, I'm not. And other conspiracy theorists have not been harassed like I have. They've not been trolled. They've not had their accounts taken. They've not, had themselves demonetized in any way. And all this shit that happened to me has not happened to any other conspiracy theorist. In fact, the other conspiracy theorists went on to become quite well known. We Are Change, for example. Those guys are all conspiracy theorists.
David Icke was laughed out of my country, and he's huge now.
And he's huge. David Icke, Alex Jones, you got We Are Change that's out there. You've got David Knight. He's out there. He's a spin-off of Alex Jones's channel. But you got all these conspiracy theorists out there saying the Styx Hexenhammer, he's got 1 million views or 1 million subs or something to that effect. All these conspiracy theorists out there who've all done extremely well for themselves, talking the exact same stuff that I was saying years ago. The exact same stuff. Talking about UFOs, talking about conspiracies, talking about government corruption, talking all the exact same shit that I was talking about, and they're all prospering. They're all doing real well, millions of subs, millions of views, all kinds of videos, all kinds of accolades, But according to him, the reason I'm trolled, the reason I'm attacked is because I'm a conspiracy theorist. Well, that's bullshit, because none of the other conspiracy theorists are being trolled or attacked. So why am I?
I'd like to add to that comment that Mike made. I agree that nobody can influence a person, and actually the only person who could leave was Andrea, but you can be driven round the fucking bend. You can have so much pressure put on you that you're just going to fall apart. You don't know how your life would have gone had the trolls not have come across you. You could be like David Icke, like you've just said. You could be living all happy. They influenced and they manipulated your aura, if you like. That must have been very stressful to Andrea, watching all that and then, being interviewed as if they were as if it was their business. Who the fuck do you think you are to meddle in somebody's life, to cause the breakup of a family just so you can make a fucking video and you can all pat each other on the back how fucking clever you are? I'd be ashamed. And these are I've been being called a fucking Vontard and all kinds. So this is my opinion. I've always found this shit disgusting, and that's why you don't see me in these circles.
Well, see,
I'm not in MeWe. I don't join a group.
Well, see, I'm the type I'm the type of person that if somebody was to call me a Von-tard, I'd go find out who Von is. And once I found out who the fuck he was, then I would find out, well, what does he say about it? And then I'd go to his BitChute page and I would read all of his videos on what he has to say about it. Then that's when I would find out that his family was destroyed, his marriage was destroyed, his children got abused, and his wife got driven insane. And that right there would be enough to tell me that no, I don't need to be hanging out with these people. They're evil people. And that would be the end of that. But my concern is obviously that this matter is dealt with permanently, because I don't see what I was going to do is one of the conditions of my lawsuit is that they would be permanently banned from the internet for life. I mean, you don't get on there and plot to destroy someone's family. No, that's totally unforgivable in my opinion. So one of the conditions of the lawsuit is that they would be permanently banned from the internet for life. The only thing they would be allowed to do is maybe use a mobile device to pay their bills online or some shit like that. But they would never, ever be allowed on social media ever again. That is just totally unforgivable. And it did not have to happen. And, looking back on it, they say hindsight's 20/20, and it really is. Because, I can sit here and look back and see all the times when this shit could have been stopped by various individuals or groups who had the means, the wherewithal, and the ability to stop it, and they never stopped it. They let it go on and on and on and on, and here now we are, 10 years in for the family thing, and 15 on me, and 20 if you count Delphi. And nobody stopped it.
I don't know whether you're talking about Monty and Agent 19, but I'd like to slide in a little something on that pair.
Go ahead.
Monty and Agent 19 can make out they're these caped crusaders of the internet, out to right the wrongs and all of this shit, and that they're on some moral crusade, which is absolute bollocks. Right. Because when Gam's husband was being trolled, she went to them for help, and they wouldn't help her. For whatever reason, Monty decided it wouldn't bring enough views to help her, or I don't know what fucking went on. Whereas anyone decent would have helped her in those circumstances. They're self-seeking, they're self-serving. Right. They're not moral crusaders. They troll and go after people who it's beneficial to them.
Right.
People who speak out about them. I've often thought that Monty could have used his subs to help you out and wondered why he didn't.
Well, like I said, I'm hearing through a third source that he had the financial wherewithal to have helped me back then, got me an attorney. I could have sued Kenny KPZ. I could have put this thing to bed 10 years ago, and unfortunately he did not do that. Now, supposedly he has drank most of it in strong drink, but still, I mean, he still had the wherewithal to have helped me, and he just refused to have done so. And then later on, he actually started defending Kenny KPZ to me, to my face, and it's like, well, okay, well. And now I find out he's possibly involved in the Illuminati, and he's definitely involved in Freemasonry, because he admitted in one of his live shows that he was a high-level Freemason. So, he's involved in secret societies, the occult, and all this corrupt government.
Can you remember Tesla Coils?
Please?
Can you remember Tesla Coils?
The name of it... Was it a person on...
He was a very... highly intelligent academically man, super smart. He probably had a very, very high IQ, but he was socially inept. He had never married. He had no children. Right. He was a conspiracy theorist. Now, he was onto Monty from the start about 8 years ago. He called it and he said, the fighting between Monty and Bubba is fake. Monty actually in with Bubba and Co.
Really?
Now, yes, he did. Now, he wouldn't shut up and he made hundreds of videos. I'll link you to the videos.
Wow.
They drove him off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
They had him locked up in a mental hospital by doing to him what the trolls have done to you.
Right.
Monty and Agent done to this man.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Hess was another man
Mm-hmm.
that spoke out, and then he ended up killing his mother and the neighbour. Did you see about that, Vaughn?
It seems like I heard about that, but I don't remember. It's been a while.
But yeah, the reason I was saying that is Monty has protected. He's known who the Bubba Effect is for fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he wouldn't drop his docs. And the reason he wouldn't drop his docs is because they're all still in coots together.
Right. Well, it's like I said in a previous video I did.
Who's come out and he's showing his face.
Well, that and the fact that all my haters used to hang out with him in his live shows all the time. Even when I wasn't there, my haters would all be in his live shows because I would go under there anonymously without logging in, and I'd see all my haters in his live show, and there they were, big as life, you know. And it's like, well, why are all my haters hanging around with Monty? You know, and that really irritated me, and I never really could figure it out. Well, obviously I figured it out now because it was all one big scam, and I was the patsy, you know.
What Monty was doing was they had fake fights, so that when Bubba was attacking Monty, Bubba's enemies would then confide in Monty, thinking that they both had a common enemy, and they would all just snitching each other out. It was all fake fighting.
Right.
Monty now is making out that he's doxed Crotch Vomit and he's got an IP address in Washington. We're talking about Molly Hawes Crotch Vomit. No, you haven't, because she's in Alaska. She lives in Fairbanks, Alaska, you're fucking full of shit.
Right, and
You
so...
see, what happened was me and Katie actually went searching and we found it, but we had cut Gam out of the joint conversation, so Gam didn't actually see where Crotch Vomit lived. So we know that Gam told Monty all of the docs, and now Monty is talking as if he found them.
Right.
As if he, you know, he's just full of shit, Monty. Right. He's just all about himself. He doesn't give a fuck about morality. It's about he's a narcissist, and if somebody says something negative about him, he's going to bring their world crashing down if he can.
Well, I'll tell you, if I was Monty and I was directly involved in the destruction of my family, I'd be real worried right now after what you've been saying, because it sounds like to me like the gods I serve ain't pulling no punches. They're taking people out of this world one right after the fucking other.
Well, Monty can think that he's fucking big shot all he likes with Agent 19.
He thinks he's invincible.
Yeah, but he does, but
he does.
I've heard in the grapevine that Agent 19 is pretty close to being identified. Now, when he hears this, of course, he's going to challenge me if I tell him his name. And I might well just do that. I might well be in a position to do that. So,
well, you know, see that's the sad thing about it. Now that I know what I know about Monty, I have to question whether Agent 19 was ever my friend. Also, you know, because him and Monty are thick, you know.
Agent 19 is so far up Monty's arse, it's hard to know where one starts and the other begins.
Exactly right. I totally agree with that. Agree with that.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It really is, because I've tried to talk to Agent 19 by himself on several occasions, and it was just, you know, all I could get out of him was a very brief comment, and I was damn lucky to get that, because it seems like he can't take a shit without Monty helping him, I guess. I don't know what the fuck.
I think that when Agent came along, I think that he used your name and the fame that went with you
Mm-hmm.
as a way of being noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you served your purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and his ultimate goal, for whatever reason, is to have some kind of internet love affair with Monty. If you listen to Agent speak of Monty, you can almost hear the erection in his voice.
Mm.
It's fucking quite alarming,
Well,
seriously.
I'll let you say that, not me, because I don't know that. I can't confirm any of that, but I mean, there's no doubt they're thick as thieves, and like I said, I've tried to talk to Agent 19 by himself, and never really got very far with it, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, it seems like Monty and Agent 19 and some of these other trolls of mine, based on what you've said, better be hoping that the gods are lenient with them, because apparently the gods I serve aren't playing around, man. They're just killing. I'm really amazed that Jennifer Souls is dead. I'm really amazed at that. I don't know why I'm so amazed by it, but I am. I'm very amazed that she's dead.
No,
I'm not surprised.
I know. When I heard it, I said it's nonsense. And then I had to skulk around, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even see on Facebook's people that have put posts and that have got like 40, 50 fucking thumbs up. So it'd be a very extreme blag.
Mm.
I don't think it's fake. And of course, she had that public meltdown on Fiction Fighters video,
Right.
where she was crying and bawling drunk that
Mm-hmm.
life wasn't worth living and
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah. So, but
Yeah.
when you go round, maybe one different turn on the road we're on of life can change everything.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if Southern Raven hadn't been on the internet so much, she might have gone out and met a better man than she was with, and she might have lived happily ever after. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But
well, see, let me tell you, and let me put on my medical hat here for a minute, because this has been proven medically. When you obsess about a thing, when you're full of hate, it can actually affect you physically. It can actually affect your physical body. This has been proven. This has been proven scientifically and medically that you can't be pent up with hate. And we're talking years here. That's the funny part about it. We're not talking about, maybe a week or a month. That's bad. But when you've got that shit bottled up in you for 15 fucking years, yeah, it's going to destroy your body. Your actual physical body is going to be destroyed if you're pent up with hate like that. And
of course, sitting behind your monitor that long could give you a deep vein thrombosis in your legs.
Well, it could, yes. Yes, it could. But yeah, I mean, when you're full of hate like that, it will literally eat away at you physically as well as mentally. And
it also shows on your face.
Yeah,
people who are bitter age fast. If you look,
right,
when they're spiteful, where I'll send you a picture of crotch from it, and you look at her tight little horrible mouth, the hooded eyes. Her face looks like her character, if you like.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I well, I tell you, this is quite revealing to me, and it just shows to me that I wouldn't want to be a Von Helton troll right about now. No way. Not if all of a sudden all of Von's trolls are falling down dead. I don't think I'd want to be a Von Helton troll right about now. But and let me be clear, folks. Okay, I want to make this. Wait a minute. Let me make this abundantly clear. I have not casted any spells to kill these people or to harm these people in any way. Let's be clear on that. I have not casted any spell. Could I have done so? Yes. In fact, I have very powerful spells that I could have used against these people, but I have not done so because I opted to take them to court anyway. However, it sounds to me like I'm not going to be able to take them to court because the gods are going to kill them before I even get a chance to do that very thing. So,
the universe will always put right.
Yeah,
always.
Apparently, yeah. It certainly looks like the gods are putting things right because they're definitely taking these cats out, man. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, your testimony tonight is just your interview, whatever you want to call it, is just amazing. And like I said, if I was Ernie Chrysler or Darren Morrison or Paul Wayman or Sean Merriman, I'd be very, very worried right about now.
I would like to think that they were sentient enough that they could actually get off their fucking, I'm sure that when they listen to this, they'll be all fucking laughing and jeering.
Well, of course.
But, actually stop and think about what we've said and how it looks. It doesn't look good.
No, it don't look good.
How many more years are you going to spend the next 10 years fucking debating about someone else's life? Don't fucking leave you alone.
And see that some of these people knew Jennifer Souls, knew who she was. I mean, Paul Wayman, Jennifer Souls lived in Paul Wayman's house for a little while at least, so he knows what happened to Jennifer Souls, and he's got to be sweating bullets because he might be next. He might be the next one the gods target for extinction.
Is he the one that they were saying was looking to buy children?
Yes, correct. And not just well, here's the thing. It wasn't just my kids. There's a video that I just happen to have a copy of, where he's in a restaurant of all places, talking about buying other people's children as well. This dude puts me in the mind, that video especially put me in the mind of somebody that buys the kids and then sells them out and makes a slight profit on the side. He's flipping, instead of flipping cars or flipping houses, this guy flips kids. And if so, then he is the sickest, most vile piece of shit on the planet, and I hope the gods do take him out. But
you're not mixing up two different guys there,
no.
Because there's one that was going to buy your children, which is Paulie Customs, isn't it?
Right. Paulie Customs, Paul Wayman, right. He was going to buy my children at $10,000 a child, which is $30,000.
What's the bit about him in the restaurant?
Well, he was buying other people's kids too, not just mine. He wasn't just interested in buying my kids, he was interested in buying other people's kids as well. And it sounded to me like that this guy flips kids. He'll buy the kids and turn around and sell the kids and make a profit. We call that flipping here in the States. We call it flipping. Yeah. You buy a piece of property, you fix the property up a little bit, and then you sell it for a profit. That's called flipping. All right?
Yeah, instead of keeping it.
Right. So instead of flipping houses or flipping cars, this guy's flipping kids. He'll buy the kids, sell them at a profit, and then move on to the next group of kids. And so
if you actually took the recording of, I've heard that recording where they're discussing buying your children.
Right.
If you took that recording to 10 sane people, they would be absolutely aghast at what they were listening to.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I've even got him on audio. It's either audio or video or both. I can't remember. But, I've got him saying, so what if I did want to buy the kids? Why is it such a big deal? He absolutely believes it's perfectly okay to buy kids and then sell them at a profit. He believes this is okay. He doesn't believe that this is a wrong thing to do. He literally believes it's perfectly okay to do this. And, and I always wondered, hey, how in the hell is this guy affording this big fancy house? And he's got his own lake in the backyard, a big, humongous lake in his backyard, massive thing. And I'm like, how in the hell is he affording this mansion, if you will? Because, it kind of puts you in the mind of it. And now we know that he's flipping these kids for thousands and thousands of dollars and making tons of money doing so. but in his mind, he actually, he's on video. He said, or audio at least. He's like, well, so what if I did? What's the big deal? Why is it such, and some of the other trolls are even getting on his ass about it, saying, hey man, you really, that's probably not legal, dude. Some of the other trolls were even getting on his ass about it. But apparently this guy is a real piece of shit. He's just flipping kids left, right, and center and making tons of money doing so. As if it
took me a couple of years of trying to reason with my trolls when they were attacking my family.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a couple of years to realise you actually don't believe what you're saying. It's just an excuse to attack. It's just something to say.
Mm-hmm.
And reasoning with you is pointless.
Yes.
So now I'm going to be worse than you.
Well, see, they're the narcissist
coming back to you tenfold.
Well, see, they're narcissists at their core. That's why they're always calling me a narcissist, is because at their core they are the narcissist. But see, they, like you said earlier, they're projecting their narcissism onto me. And that's why they call me...
narcissists project. That's one of the biggest clues to being a narcissist is they project
their... That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so, but yeah, I mean, Paul Wayman has a lot to answer for, and I can tell you for a fact that if he gets in jail and the criminals find out that he's been flipping kids, oh my God, dude, he won't be long on this earth because the criminals will kill him. I won't have to do shit. The criminals will kill him. Because criminals, for whatever reason, criminals in jail are really anal about people that hurt either the elderly or little kids. I don't know why.
Do you know when I twigged that they just say anything as an excuse to attack was when I had been being called a child predator and a stalker by the Bubba Effect.
Right.
Who me and the Boohoo Effect exposed as making dirty videos out of two 14-year-old girls' private video that they had posted on Facebook of them dancing around in their underwear.
Mm-hmm.
We exposed him. You would think that people would have said, oh my God, what a rotten, dirty bastard. They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
They just pretended they didn't know.
Right.
The same people who have attacked you and the Kelly chat logs, which I don't know that much about them, but the same people that attacked you over the Kelly chat logs, Bubba Effect, for example, well, he's been proven to stalk two teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent a picture of his erect penis to one who was only 14.
Oh, man.
It's fucking, you couldn't make this shit up. That's the bit that pisses me off.
Right.
I don't care if they want to point the finger at people. But when one in your midst is then proven to be the very thing that you're raking someone else over the coals for, have the decency to point the same dirty fucking finger at them.
Exactly. And where's the thousands of videos of Glenn's room? Where's the thousands of videos of this guy?
I'm the only person who keeps on. Me and Boohoo and Katie, Mrs. Anonymous Dick, are the only one who keep pointing out that Bubba Effect has stalked two teenage girls.
Right.
And
and let's be clear, okay? Andrea wanted to come up here at 18. She did. She wanted to come up here at 18, and I said, no, don't do it. Wait until you're at least 20 before you come up here. And, but she could have come up here at 18. She wanted to come up here at 18. I said, no, wait until you're 20. Okay, so let's get that out of the way right now because they're the trolls.
The only man who has done that. Why are they so obsessed with your particular story? There are lots of people who have a young wife who they met on the internet.
Right.
That's not a rare thing.
No, well let me explain to you what it is. I'll tell you what it is. They knew that I was dirt poor and that I couldn't afford an attorney. And so they took advantage of that fact. We know he can't mount a defense, and so we're just going to attack him relentlessly and lie about his situation and just tell everything, and then we'll get his mom's family involved, personally involved, get them involved in making up stories and shit, and it's just a mess. See, now I've got to throw a whole bunch of my mother's family in jail over this shit. And then when I get
Von,
done,
and or back to the subject of karma, fate, the
right, right,
gods,
right,
whatever you want to call it.
right,
Mark Lonan, who gave you hell,
right.
his sister accused him of raping her.
Yes,
He,
and apparently he
yes,
admitted. Apparently he admitted to it.
well, he admitted that some kind of inappropriate behaviour.
Yeah, inappropriate behavior. Right, right, right.
But there you go. There's another
Yes,
example.
yes, exactly, exactly right.
It's just so. I think that people should step back now and actually think, hang on,
Mm.
what the fuck are we doing?
That'll never happen. That will never happen. The only thing, it's like I've said years and years ago, the only thing that's going to stop these assholes is either jail or death. And I really don't give a damn which. If the gods choose to kill them before I get a chance to sue their ass, so be it. But something's got to give because this
But
has went on far too long.
if you look at how we've discussed that many of them have got their own demons going on, you can't honestly think that somebody who's going to obsess about and be spending the day talking to people on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
well, isn't your wife wanting you in bed?
Mm-hmm.
If some of back in the heyday, these people were on the internet 14, 15 hours a day stalking you.
Yeah.
I know. But, if they had any life, if they were worth a wank, any of them, that's a British term, surely their wife would be thinking, come on, love, come to bed. Or,
right.
It's,
well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing about
important.
Right. Well, here's the thing about that. Okay. See, me and Andrea would take shifts. All right. We would take shifts. I would take night shift. She would take day shift. And then, she'd keep the house clean during the day, and then, and whatever, do the dishes, whatever the hell. And then I would get up at night, and I would take over for her during the night, especially with these night terrors and shit, with the screaming and whatnot. I'd have to get up anyway. So I said, fuck it, I'll take the night shift. And so while I'm up during the night, I get on the internet and do a live stream. I mean, why the fuck not, right? I mean, I'm waiting for the kids to start screaming or crying or needing a bottle or needing a diaper change or whatever the fuck. And so I had to be up anyway, so I figured, what the hell, I'll do a live stream, right?
But that's your business. That shouldn't concern them.
Well, see, the point is, though, they're trying to say that, I was some kind of slave driver, that Andrea did all the work and all this because I was on these live streams late at night. But see, they didn't know that we were taking shifts. They didn't know that we had already, me and Andrea had pre-planned this from long ago, that we would take shifts. And so they didn't understand that. And then I would take sponge baths so that I wouldn't wake her up of a night. Because if I ran bath water or took a shower, see, the bathroom's right here next to the bed. So if I run water in a shower or bathtub, it would wake her up. So I didn't do that. I took sponge baths. And so they jumped on that real quick. Oh, he ain't taking a bath. He ain't taking a bath. Well, yeah, it was.
But here's the thing, Von. Everything that you've just said, there are 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 men the world over who don't help their wives, who sit up in the night. Some of them get drunk and fucking beat their wives.
Right.
Some of them play cards with their mates. Some of them go and look at prostitutes dancing round table dancers or whatever you call it. Strip clubs.
Strip clubs,
Everybody's got their own thing that they do.
Right.
I can't see that what you were doing was actually that offensive.
Well, it wasn't.
Unless you're just one of those people who looks for fault in others.
Well, it wasn't. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Me and Andrea had this all planned out perfectly. And, she was up during the day tending to the kids. I was up at night tending to the kids. And it's kind of ironic because, sometimes if my live hangout carried over until it was time for her to get up, she would actually sit in the chair and take over the live hangout for me, and I would lay down and go to bed. I've got that on video, by the way, because they would sit there and say, oh, well, Von Helton never let her take over the hangout. Actually, that's not true, because she would sometimes take over the hangouts. And, it was just, everything these trolls
Yeah,
have
but you
said
know,
is a
if
lie.
they, you said that they said, "Oh, poor Andrea."
Yeah,
You
poor
know, if
Andrea.
they really thought that, why did they add to her misery? Why were they making fun of her? Why were their channels dedicated to making fun of her and ridiculing her?
Well, exactly, and that's what I
That's not
was.
how you help a person who you feel sorry for.
Well, exactly, and that's what I was alluding to earlier because Secular Opinion has numerous live chats where he was sitting there. Him and his buddies were sitting there calling her every name in the book. So I mean, they got no leg to stand on. They've got absolutely no leg to
Out of
stand on.
curiosity, say Secular Opinion, because I've heard the name, but I've never seen. Do they have wives and children? These
I
people,
don't think Secular Opinion does. I don't think
right?
Secular Opinion does.
Right. Oh,
He made a big joke about having a girlfriend from the Ukraine once, but that was nothing but bullshit. That was just trolling. That's all that was. In fact, Secular Opinion may be gay. I don't know. I think he might be gay. But I've never seen him with a woman. He's never been on camera with a woman. He's never mentioned a woman. The only time he ever mentioned a woman, like I said, was during that troll shit with the supposedly a UK girlfriend and shit, and that ended up being nothing but a troll. So he might even be gay. I don't know, but I've never seen him with a woman. Never heard him talk about a woman. So I assume that he just doesn't have one, or he's gay, one or the other. But a lot of these guys, and see that's the thing that I don't understand. If these guys are married, how in the world are they justifying this shit to their wives? Paul Wayman's wife is apparently perfectly okay with him abusing people on the internet. I don't understand how. I don't understand why a woman would be okay with that. But his wife didn't seem to mind it.
What's Jay Stevio like to you then, Vaughn? Is he okay with you?
Well, Jay Stevio has a considerably older woman with him. And,
Yeah, Bonnie.
I don't understand the situation of that too well, but I guess, whatever.
Is he one of your critics, or is
Yes.
he? You get along with him?
No, Jay Stevio is definitely one of my trolls, one of my haters.
Oh, well, then I've got a little bit of information for you there.
Oh, okay.
Jay Stevio has been accused by somebody on the internet called Babs 2.0.
Right.
Who's one of your trolls.
Right.
I think he's a 20-year-old boy.
Yes.
But when he was 15, 16, Jay Stevio was sending him expensive presents and inviting him to go and stay with him and Bonnie.
Right.
And Babs felt that he was being groomed.
Right. Well, he very well may have been.
An underage boy, and why was Jay Stevio sending him expensive presents and offering to pay for him to fly to that country?
Exactly right. And I agree.
There's another example of the pot and the kettle.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, like I said, I mean, these people are dangerous people. They really are dangerous people. I'm sure there's some people that, they can't be that bad. Yeah, actually they are. Yeah, actually they are. They're extremely dangerous people. And, many of my trolls and haters have criminal records. Many of them have extreme narcissistic disorder. Many of them are sadomasochist in their very nature. And, they're not, they're nothing to sneeze at. These guys are dangerous. And like I said, whether I take them to court or whether the gods take them out of this world, it doesn't matter to me either way. But they need to be held accountable for what they've done these past 10 to 15 years. They need to be held accountable for it, and it sounds to me like the gods have got this shit well in hand.
And of course, when you're guilty of something and you know that you've done something wrong, your conscience will try to justify it with things like, I was worried about the children, or whatever, and you'll tell yourself things that make yourself feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we all fucking at some point are going to be withdrawing our last breaths.
That's right.
Unless we're taken out by sudden death, you know, getting run over or
Right.
plane crash or fucking drowning.
Right.
But, you know, most of us will have time to contemplate and look back at what we've spent our time doing. I've never done anything that I'm ashamed of.
Right.
Everything, if I've done anything to anybody, it's because they fucking done it to me first.
Right.
And
Well, like I said, you know, I was told that you will see the destruction of your enemies, and you know, I feel like they have informed me that I will outlive many of their enemies. And I actually put in a request that I get to see my grandkids at least. So, so we'll see what happens with that. Because I am up there a little bit. I'm 56, and so you know, and I like I said, I still got 3 more kids to go. So I'm gonna at least get 3 more kids. So
well, that's the thing with a man; they can keep reproducing. You can keep reproducing. I think was it Charlie Chaplin was having kids at 70 odd,
yes,
wasn't he? One of them
that's
was.
right. And you notice nobody said a word about Charlie Chaplin doing that, did they?
Yeah. Or
And
Hugh Hefner.
or Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner was 88 and he had a 20-year-old wife. Nobody said one word about that to him. Not one word. You know, and in fact, all throughout history, all throughout even recent history, there have been older men and younger wives. It is a totally normal thing as long as it's between 2 consenting adults, which is why I told Andrea to wait until she was 20 before she come up here. Because in that way they couldn't say anything because she wasn't a
Have
teenager.
people stopped trolling you now?
Huh?
Is it relatively quiet or?
Well, it's quiet in the extent that there isn't hundreds of fucking hate videos out there like there used to be. But are they still out there talking shit? No, they're still out there talking shit, I assure you. It's much more reserved than it was, but they're still out there talking shit. But, you know, now that their own troll buddies are starting to fall down dead, you know, they're probably going to have to start revisiting the idea of leaving me the fuck alone because it sounds
Yeah,
to
because
me.
wasn't there another one who died? I don't know whether he was one of your haters. Spellbinder or
Spellbinder, right. Yep, Spellbinder's dead, right.
Was he a Von hater or was
He
he?
was, well, I think they convinced him to be a hater of mine. I don't think he originally intended to be one, but I think they tried to convince him to be one. But I don't think he intentionally started out that way.
What about Fiction Fighter? Have you? Is she still
Fiction
quiet
Fighter.
now?
Is Fiction Fighter dead too?
No, she's not dead, but she was one of her good friends that she trusted. Dropped her docs, gave all the pictures of her on her dating site looking for men, and
Right.
she kind of scurried off with her tail between her legs at that point.
Right.
See, it's only fun doing these things when you're anonymous,
Right.
when your actual name can be linked to your dirty deeds and your community might actually get wind of what you get up to. It's not so fucking funny.
Exactly.
Particularly when you're in the caring profession.
Yeah.
You know, this is a woman.
Yeah,
whose
I
job
was
is to look
amazed.
after old age pensioners.
Yeah, I was
Would you want to
amazed.
leave your mother with her? Fucking hell.
Well, I was amazed because Sherry 226 is a registered nurse, you know, and you know, she's putting her career on the line for what? To go after
Who's
two
Sherry
old
226? I don't know that name. What's that one?
Sherry 226 was originally one of Nick Bravo's trolls, and because me and Nick Bravo hung out a few times with Brett Keane, she latched on to me. But but Sherry 226, if I recall correctly, she's a registered nurse. She's got, you know, this big career in nursing and whatnot, and you know, to put that at risk just because of 2 people she don't even know, namely Nick Bravo and myself, that's pretty stupid. And then she gets her daughter involved, and has her daughter to start harassing me and Nick. And that right there is contributing to the delinquency of a minor because, you know, she's basically training her child to be evil, which is totally immoral. And this is supposed to be a person who's taking care of people in a hospital. Wow, it's amazing what's going on, but I don't know. I mean, it sounds to me, based upon what you're saying, sounds to me like the gods have got this shit well in hand, and I don't need to sue anybody because they're all going to be dead.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds
Well,
like to me.
I'm glad we spoke, because I don't want you to ever think that I've attacked you.
Well, now you know that after we're done with this and it gets posted, that
Yeah.
they're going to say that you set me up and it's all a troll and that you're
They can
actually.
say this is the thing. The only person I speak to right now is Mrs. Anonymous Dick, Mike. I've got no issue. I told you record this, and
Right.
so that it's totally transparent what we spoke about.
Right, exactly.
I'm not scared to say what I think.
Right.
That doesn't mean I want to start fighting with them. If they want to fight with me, fine.
Right.
Fuck yourselves out. Just because I think these things and I'm now expressing them, well, for years these people have had an opinion on me.
Exactly.
Just because Gam has been attacking them, even though I haven't been there. They've ridiculed me, and they've made videos about my teeth, and they've encouraged, they've cheerleaded people who were attacking my children.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like I said, I don't believe in coincidence. Okay, I don't believe in coincidence at all. So my finding that video on YouTube,
Last of the 813.
Yeah, Last of the 813s, and it's like, oh shit, I know that name, because that's what I ended up being on YouTube for in the beginning. And like I said, little children actually were harassed until they committed suicide, and that is unforgivable.
I don't think Mike Schweizer and Annie White were involved in that one.
That's exactly what they were doing, and now Bubba Effect and the Smiley Posse
to a suicide.
Yeah, they would harass little kids until they committed suicide. Yeah, that's why I went to YouTube. I had no intentions of going to YouTube ever. I had no intentions of going there. I was over on Delphi.
How I recall, Mike, when I got here, Annie was a bit mouthy and fucking running with Bubba the Shill, as I recall. But I do remember that Mike was more of like a piss. Do you know what a piss taker is? Do you have that word?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've hung around with some Aussies, so yeah, I know.
Yeah. I found that he was more of a piss taker and a bit of a jester. No. I didn't actually find him very vindictive.
Well, you're wrong. You're wrong, because the whole point of me going to YouTube, I was on Delphi forums, minding my own little business, and someone informed me that little kids were being harassed, and some had actually already died. Now I wasn't sure about that, obviously, but but that was the story I was given years and years ago. I had no intentions of going to YouTube. I had no desire to go to YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that Mike Schweizer is a suicide troll.
Last of the 813s and Annie. It was Annie Hanswhite back then. It's Annie L. White now. But it was Annie Hanswhite back then. Her name has changed. But, these two people were involved in harassing little kids to commit suicide. And supposedly at least one child was dead. That's what drew me to YouTube in the first place. I had no intentions of going to YouTube. I had no intentions of creating a channel on there. I had no intentions of making videos. I wasn't there. Listen, I was not on YouTube. Because, speaking of the narcissist thing we were talking about earlier. Oh, well, he's on YouTube because he's a narcissist and he wants everybody to bow to him and he wants everybody to believe what he says and shit. That's not why I was on YouTube. I was on YouTube because I had heard that Last of the 813s and Annie Hanswhite and Bubba Effect and his Smiley Posse were out there harassing little kids until they committed suicide. That's what drove me to YouTube. I had absolutely no intentions of staying on YouTube and creating a channel.
I would 100% say that Bubba Effect, Jason, some say Jason Claudel McCoy, more recently Monty has doxed him as Jason Lynn Ryan, out of Idaho. I would say 100% he was pushing for my daughter to commit suicide, my daughter Paige. I would say 100% Molly Hawes, crotch vomit, had the intent to try to push my daughter to commit suicide. Guaranteed, 100%.
Yes.
I'm not sure that Mike was doing that, and I'm not sure that Annie was, but I'm definitely, absolutely certain that Jason was, Bubba, and that Molly was.
I'm telling
They
you.
wanted my child to commit suicide.
I'm telling you right now that I would not have ever been on YouTube if I had not been told that Last of the 813s and Annie Hans White were harassing little children. I would not have been on YouTube if it weren't for that. And I forget now who told me. Somebody told me over on Delphi what was going on, and and at first I think I even blew it off. I think I blew it off for like a year or two. That's how, because surely people aren't that fucking evil that they would.
I am absolutely convinced that Bubba Effect and Molly Hawes have intentionally tried to get my daughter to commit suicide. I believe that was what they were pushing for.
Yeah.
And that was the end goal.
I don't doubt it.
But I'm only certain with those two.
Right. Let me go get another soda. I'll be right back. I'm not going to bother muting. I'll be right back.
Carry on.
I can't just run in there real quick.
Do you not think there are degrees of how bad each person is? That you have the real vicious bastards, and then you've got the cheerleaders, the second tier. You've got the main attackers, and then you've got the second tier.
Well, I'll tell you this much. It's a good thing that I'm not a deity. Because I wouldn't care what their justification was. I wouldn't care what their excuses were. I wouldn't care whether they were a cheerleader or an instigator. Wouldn't matter to me one iota. They would all be dead, every one of them. So it's good that I'm not a deity, okay, because I would have killed them all. But I mean, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
I do slightly differentiate. It's like,
right.
I wouldn't give a fuck if Bubba Effect crawled in front of me on broken glass and cut his fucking wrists. I would never, ever be all right with what he did to my daughter.
Right.
Whereas Mike and Annie, Last of the 813s, you call him, and Annie, they were involved around where my daughter was being trolled, and they did troll her. They say that they didn't know she was only 14 and that they thought she was 20. Right. I say, regardless of how old she was, she shouldn't have been being targeted.
No. Kids, but see, and that's a good point. Let's get this out of the way right now. There has been a long-standing rule, even among criminals, you don't go after the kids. How many fucking times have we seen that in movies and television and real life even, where people have said, hey, do whatever the fuck you want, but don't go after the kids. And what did my trolls and haters do? What did Bubba Effect do? What did all these other assholes do? They went after and targeted little kids. And that is the one thing that they should have never done. It should have never been done. You want a piece of me? Fine. But you leave my kids out of it. You leave my wife out of it. Well, see, they didn't do that shit. They didn't do that. And that is a long-standing rule that's been around for centuries. Literally, it's been around for centuries.
And in jail, if they feel that you've transgressed that rule, they'll meter out their own justice.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's what I'm trying to say. That has been a rule since the 1920s at least with the mobs, the mob, you don't mess with the wife and kids. You got a beef with me, you come to me. You don't take it to the wife and kids. And see, that's the very law that these assholes have violated from day fucking one. And that could be the very reason why the gods are going after him so fervently like they are. It's because they know better. They know that what they've done is inherently wrong, and they should not have done it. And
Well, there's the question for me is this, even if they think those things, it's like I know, for instance, I'm very animal. I'm a bit of an animal activist. I'm into the hunt sabbing, saboteuring fox hunting and preventing foxes from being killed. So I bang into my wildlife and things. And I lost the chain of thought that I was going to say. What were we saying just before, Von?
About don't mess with the wife and kids.
No, it's gone. There was a point I was going to make.
Well, you talked about hunting, about killing foxes and shit.
Yeah, but that was to make a point of right, yeah. Now, when I'm in the field and I'm arguing with fox hunters, they'll say to me, but it's vermin, but it's killing chickens, and you've got to keep the population down.
Right.
And what I say is this: I fucking understand that, but the bit I don't understand is why you're sat in on a horse with a fucking horn, with a pack of dogs, drunk off your ass, tally-hoing, getting really into this buzz. Why have you got to be the one to go and kill the fox?
Right.
Why not let the farmer just go and blow his fucking head off? Why have you got to have this pomp and ceremony?
Right. Exactly.
Well, that reminds me of the trolls.
Yeah.
If they really gave a fuck about kids and whether Andrea was poor put upon and whether Von was pulling his weight, actually do something constructive. What good did you do by making fun of this family? Do you think your children are ever going to look back and think, oh, do you know what? I'm so grateful for Secular Opinion for posting that shit all over the internet.
Well, that's what I told you earlier. If you remember, I told you, I said, listen, when I get done with these guys, then my kids get their turnaround. There's no statute of limitations on destroying someone's life.
I don't understand why they are self-appointing themselves as people who have the right
and that's exactly what the judge is going to say to them, too. The judge is going to look at him and is going to say, who the hell made you judge, jury, and executioner? That's my job. And I can hear a judge say that to him. I can hear the judge say to him, that's my job, not yours. You don't have a right to be judge, jury, and executioner.
Back in the day when crotch vomit was anonymous, as Molly Hawes was anonymous as crotch vomit, while stalking my children and labelling my 14-year-old daughter as a black prostitute, whilst doing all that, she kept threatening me with the law and saying that I was going to be extradited to America. So what I said was, can you imagine my defence attorney saying to you, so when you made this picture of her teenage daughter, what kind of a witness are you going to be?
Right, exactly. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. These guys have no defense. They've been doing this shit for years. To somebody that's never said a foul word in their direction except in defense, and has never done anything to them, physically, financially, spiritually even. Let me go on record again. Let me say this a second time. I have not cast any spells, incantations, or anything of the kind to harm these people in any way. I could have, but I have not. In fact, all of my spells up to this point have been defensive spells. But I could have done so. But it looks like I don't have to do anything because it looks like the gods are handling it. But here's the thing. When they get into a courtroom, the judge is going to have a field day with these assholes because so's
the solicitors.
Yeah, they have no defense at all. They sit there and they're judge, jury, and executioner, and the judge is going to be like, hey, wait a minute, that's my job. You don't have that right. That's my job. And not only that, but the lawyers are going to be, where did you think that slandering, defaming, and libeling someone was legal?
And then there's the biggest question of all. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Do you think you are? Exactly. And I imagine hearing that from the judge too. I imagine the judge, I can see the judge looking at him and asking him that question.
No, seriously.
Because they're not going to, they're not, I've read their comments, they're like, oh, well, if I did stand in front of a judge, I'd win this shit, no problem. I said, no, you wouldn't. No, you are not. You're not going to win jack shit. First of all,
the judge would dismiss you and say, "Mind your own business. Fuck off out my courtroom."
Well, not only that, but see, you've got them all over the damn internet admitting to the shit. It's not like they're saying, "Well, I never called CPS. I never harassed Von Helton and his family. I never did." No, you got just the opposite. They're on YouTube and they're on Daily Motion, Live Leak, and all these other social media. Yeah, fuck yeah, I harassed Von Helton. Fuck yeah, I drove his wife insane. Fuck yeah, I called CPS. Fuck yeah, I got him in trouble. Every fucking time they turn around, they're admitting to this shit, and the judge and the lawyers are going to be like, this guy's an idiot. You don't admit to a crime, but these guys have. They've admitted to this shit, knowing damn good and well that slander, libel, and defamation are crimes, and they're on the fucking YouTube admitting, and other social media admitting to it. Well, the lawyers are going to fucking eat them for lunch. They're going to totally own their ass. And they're too fucking stupid to realize it. I guarantee you that if any of them saw this video, they'll be on YouTube the next day making a video. Oh, well, we ain't got nothing to worry about from Von Helton. We ain't got nothing to worry about. There ain't no lawyer going to touch us. We ain't going to see no judge. And shit like that. Because
there's many ways you can come unstuck.
They are
whether they get taken to court or not. At some point, everybody sits down and has to be fucking spiritually happy to fucking go to their death.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, they're not the least bit worried. They're not the least bit concerned. Even though I told them, I even showed money in my last video. Said, here's the money. I'm going to be giving my lawyer right here. Boom. Here's the money.
Here's the thing. They shouldn't have to be told to be ashamed.
No,
their own conscience should look back and think, "Fucking hell, did we really do that?"
It's hard to believe that there are soulless beings on this earth, but I sometimes wonder. Mm-hmm. I really do. I sometimes wonder if there aren't soulless beings on this earth because. I sit back and I think about it, and I think, well, now, wait a minute. I've got a spirit, I've got a soul, I've got a mind, I've got, emotions, I've got a code of ethics. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to destroy someone's family. No matter how evil they were to me, I could not bear to destroy someone's family. I couldn't do it. I'm physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally incapable of doing something that evil. I guess I'm hardwired that way, maybe. I don't know. But I could not ever bring myself to do something like that. But not these guys. Not these guys. They think they're fucking God's gift to humanity. Hey, by God, we finally destroyed Von Helton's marriage. We finally drove his wife insane. We finally got his kids abused. We're heroes, And it's like, what the fuck, man?
Disgusting.
I think they might actually be soulless. I know that sounds crazy, but
there's definitely a lack of empathy.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
The inability to put themselves in someone else's shoes and to think, hang on, how would I feel?
Well, that's exactly right. And
I wouldn't do anything to somebody that I didn't, that I wouldn't have done to myself. But that being said, if you fuck with me and mine for long enough, I will come gunning for you and yours.
Right. Exactly. Well, and that's their excuse. Oh, well, Von's told us for years he was going to take us to court. Yeah, that's true, but see, admittedly, a lot of times I did it because I was hoping that, cooler heads would prevail, and then if I threatened to take them to court, they would back off and leave me the fuck alone. Well, unfortunately, with them, it had the exact opposite reaction, and they just did it even more. So, now, here years later, D-Day really is here. They really are going to go to jail after I get done with Mom's family, of course, because I got to deal with the local shit first. But once I get them all thrown in prison, then I'm coming after the YouTube trolls, whether they like it or not, whether they believe it or not. They're all going to go to jail for the destruction of my marriage and for ruining Andrea's life. You don't ruin a young 20-year-old girl's life. You just don't do that shit, okay?
Just to make a video to post for all your subs. What
and
the fuck?
and to beat it all, what do they say in the comments? Oh, we did it for the lulz. We did it for laughs. We did it for kicks. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not justification. And
Who was the actual people who actually orchestrated the video? That I've never heard it. I've never listened to it.
Well, there's quite a few players involved. There's Mr. Dark Zodiac.
Mr. Dark Zodiac was involved in interviewing Andrea?
Yes, correct. In fact, Mr. Dark Zodiac later on recanted some of the things he said and did by saying that we've got to help Andrea, we've got to, find out what's really going on and shit like that. So I have to admit that Mr. Dark Zodiac did kind of come around there on the very last. Of course, by then it was far too late. The damage was already done. But, I do have to say that there on the last, Mr. Dark Zodiac did finally start to come around and say, hey, maybe we need to help this girl and, find out what's really going on and shit. And, of course, it was too late then, obviously. But, yeah, Mr. Dark Zodiac.
So who actually was involved in the Andrea interview? Who was it?
The actual interview. That was Mr. Dark Zodiac. That was Kenny KPZ. That was the Hippers. The Hippers, who we now know as David Blount. He was David Blount on Facebook, at least.
Right.
They were there.
Right. The reason I asked was, well, look, Kenny Capizzi got catfished.
Right.
For a year by a big fat woman with a gaggle of kids. Totally trashy mother. Everything he accused you of,
right.
She actually was the real McCoy.
Right.
So there's that. Who was the other person who you said was involved in the interview?
Mr. Dark Zodiac, Kenny KPZ.
Well, look at Mr. Dark Zodiac. His wife ended up leaving him.
Right.
They've both got restraining orders on each other, and he can't be seen to be trolling on the fucking internet. It always comes around.
Now, I will say to Secular Opinion's credit, that Secular Opinion did come out, particularly when Paul Wayman wanted to buy the kids. Secular Opinion did come out and say, hey, wait a minute, we really ought to not be doing shit like that. And so to Secular Opinion's credit, he did try to state that it was way over the top, way over the line to go after Andrea and my children and such. But again, he didn't do anything to stop it either. And later on, like I said, in his own live hangouts, he was actually encouraging people to go after Andrea. So I mean, what he said.
When people like Dark Zodiac, Harry Abner have a change of heart, I always suspect it's because they know they're about to come unstuck.
Exactly.
And they know that shit's about to hit the fan.
Exactly.
I don't give them the credit of they had a change of heart or they saw the error of their ways.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so either. I think he was just afraid of the backlash.
Harry Abner was heavily involved in the trolling of my 12-year-old daughter. She was being posted on Jimmy Savile channels.
Right.
She was being posted in leotards, doing the splits and things that they had taken from her gym club.
How in the hell did they get pictures like that, though?
Because my daughter was a gymnast and they had stalked her gymnastic club. And where they showed all the photos from the competition, they stole the photos. Only when I kicked up such a fuss did Harry Abner say, hey, we should stop doing this. But previous to that, he had a good year of thoroughly enjoying himself.
Right, of course.
So no. don't take any notice of Harry Abner telling you apologies, because it's only self-serving.
Well, like I said, these people are narcissistic sadomasochists. And by the way, that is science's definition, not mine. That is what science calls them. And this is easily referenced. You can look that up. Narcissistic sadomasochist. Google it. And you will find troll next to it. Because that's exactly what a troll is. A troll is a narcissistic sadomasochist. Okay, by definition. By scientific definition. Which is kind of interesting. Because many of these guys are into science, you know. And so it's kind of interesting that their own science betrays them. But yeah, I mean, they have absolutely nothing to stand on. And, and now, I kind of wondered why everything got quiet, especially here more recently. And now, and then here you come telling me, well, hell, the gods is out there killing them one right after the other. It's like, fuck.
And the ones he's not killing, he's exposing as being dirty, dodgy parents and fucking child abusers.
Exactly right. And so, I mean, if I was a Von Helden troll, I'd be very, very worried right now. Of either being killed by the gods he believes in or being thrown in jail,
I don't know what it is about the year 2019, but so far it's been explosive, and I think it's going to end on an explosive note.
The gods told me that they would expose everybody and everything. It's all going to get exposed. Everything, all this evil that's been going on for centuries, it's all going to be exposed.
Well, none of them are anonymous anymore, are they? Dr. Dissent has been doxxed. Kenny Capizzi has been doxxed. Right. They've all lost the anonymity.
Right.
And have you noticed they're not as vicious, but I think they're all over on MeWe. Do you know what MeWe is?
I know what MeWe is, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're over on there.
I had an account on MeWe, but I left. I didn't stay. I got rid of it.
Yeah, it wasn't very good, was it? Not my cup of tea.
Well, I wasn't getting any traffic, so I figured, well, what the fuck do I need it for, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, man. It just seems to me like, like I started to say, the gods told me that they're exposing all this evil and corruption here in the United States. And particularly in my particular personal case, they're exposing a lot of the stuff, Like I said, I stumbled upon Last of the 813s. I would have never dreamed in my entire life that I would run back into that motherfucker again. But here I am. And so, so the gods are keeping their word. They said, we will show you.
I have a lot of admiration for Mike coming out and making a video and using his face, putting his words to it.
Well, like I said, if you knew that all of your troll buddies are dead or dying or being exposed as pedophiles, you'd come out and make a video too, saying, "Hey, man, I'm not involved. I'm a good guy." He's not long for this earth. The gods are going to take him out of this world for what he's done. You can't harm little kids, dude. You can't. You cannot harm little kids and think the gods are not going to do something. You just can't do that. I'm sorry. You can't harm little kids. Now you say, well, why did the gods wait 15 fucking years to do anything? I don't know. Maybe it all had to coincide with me. Maybe it all had to coincide with the alignment of the stars or some shit. Who knows why the gods do what they do? It's not my place to ask. I'm a creative being. It's not my place.
Everything has to be in the right place at the right time, in the right moment.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the way I'm thinking it, and I'm leaving it that way. But I mean, because that'll be their question. Well, why did the gods wait 15 years to do anything? I had somebody tell me the other day, well, your gods failed you because they allowed the trolls to destroy your family and destroy your marriage and all this shit.
Maybe that wasn't the life the gods had for you anyway. Maybe, but it wasn't their place to destroy it.
Right, exactly. Well, the gods don't want that on their hands or their conscience anyway. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want that shit on my conscience. But see, the gods could use that as a means of putting these people away that need to be put away. And like I said, they've told me, they said, we're exposing all the evil in America. And you notice that all this evil is being exposed. We got politicians that are sitting there literally drinking the blood of little babies and eating their flesh. We've
You've
got
got
Hollywood.
You've got Epstein killing himself or being murdered in jail.
Exactly right. Big, huge pedo ring gets found out. They even got their own island, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and Prince Andrew, the Queen's son, shaming her.
Yeah, and then you got these Hollywood type, or not Hollywood, well, Hollywood and music types. They fucking come out saying "Hail Satan" and we're aligned with dark forces and evil spirits and shit. And the gods are telling me, said, we're exposing all this. We're going to expose it all, and then we're going to destroy it. And I'm like, well, okay, all right, And they said when they get done exposing all this evil in America, they're going to destroy it. Now, how they're going to destroy it, I don't know, but that's what they told me. Said they're going to do it, and by God, they're exposing the shit left, right, and center. Because every time I turn around, there's something new, some evil thing that's going on being exposed. Now what do we hear about the Democrat Party here in the United States? It turns out that they were actually involved with Russia and Ukraine all the fucking long, and that Biden's own son was involved in kickbacks and shit with some of these foreign types. And so all this evil, all this corruption, all this shit's all being exposed by the gods, and they're going to do it, and then they're going to destroy it all, every bit of it. That's what they told me. Said they're going to destroy it all. And I guess we're going to, what it sounds like once they get done destroying all this evil, we're going to experience a renaissance of a fashion. And that's a good thing, because America desperately needs it right about now. But yeah, and then in my personal case, they've told me, said, we're going to destroy your enemies. You're going to see it happen. You're going to know what's going on. You're going to win the lottery, and you're going to be, you're going to be a powerful influence in the earth. You're going to do exploits. You're going to help destroy evil in the earth. Your children will grow up to destroy evil in the earth. And so, things are changing. Things are happening now at a rapid pace, and I'm watching it happen live, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. And it's really a good time to be alive, man. I'm really pleased that I'm where I'm at.
I've thoroughly enjoyed the year's proceedings. I have to say, it's been a pretty good year my way.
Things are turning around. Watch it happen. Things are turning around. The real gods, the true gods that created us and that care about us, they are seriously trying to make a comeback. Christianity and Islam and Judaism has had control of this earth, and then atheism took control of the earth for a while, and the gods are like, okay, y'all had your fun, now it's our turn. And so they're gonna try and set everything right and get everything all situated back to the way it needs to be. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and like I said, we can end up seeing a renaissance of a fashion after it, and that's a good thing. I mean, we need a renaissance, a revival, a recuperation, if you will, and we desperately need that as a people. We really do.
I read a thing a couple of weeks ago, and it was about people who troll and why they troll. And one of the things it said was that when you're being vicious to someone and you're trying to hurt them, you don't actually get to see the hurt that you caused. So
correct.
It's quite abstract. They keep themselves and almost dehumanize the fucking person they're attacking, because then it makes it easier, because everybody has to convince themselves what they're doing is right.
Right. Well,
so they sell themselves all kind of lies. They probably actually do believe that they're for the good of. They tell themselves that. They have to tell themselves that to live with themselves.
Yeah. They actually believe that they are doing a good thing by destroying my finances, destroying my marriage, destroying Andrea's life, destroying my kids. And some, I think some of them are involved in the dark arts. And so for them, their goal is to try and stop these prophecies from happening before they happen. Because, the prophecy over me is that you have a great and glorious future that'll benefit all of mankind. Well, they don't want that prophecy to come to pass. What in the world is that noise? I'm hearing a noise. Oh, is that your
My
phone? But
notification.
but they're sitting there. You have a great and glorious future that'll benefit all of mankind, and they don't want that prophecy to come to pass. And then, like I said, when I was on Delphi, there was this clairvoyant, this seer woman. She messaged me on Delphi. She said she was all excited. She's like, "Your kids are going to do great exploits in the earth. They're going to destroy evil in the earth, and they're going to be awesome." And I'm like, have you got the right guy? Because at the time I wasn't even married, had no intentions of marrying, had no intentions of having any children. And she's like, no, 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 no. It's you. You're going to have children. You're going to be remarried, and the children you have are going to do great exploits in the earth. They're going to hate evil. They're going to stop evil. It's going to be a great time. And she was just all excited and happy, and I'm like, well, okay, and never really gave it much thought after that, to be honest, because like I said, at the time I wasn't even interested in getting remarried. Didn't have no children, no living children anyway. And so the thought hadn't even crossed my mind. And lo and behold, I bump into Andrea on SinglesNet, and she took a liking to me. And since we're at it, let's be clear. When me and Andrea talked for those 2 years on SingleNet, not one time did I ever tell her that the earth was coming to an end, or that she had to get down here right away, and all this other gobbledygook. In fact, I did the exact opposite. I told her to wait until she was 20 before she come down here. So if I wanted her down here in a hurry and I was telling her the world was going to an end, why would I tell her to wait until she was 20 to come here? 2 years later,
But if this bothers them so much, why aren't they running round to all the Amish people who get married at fucking 15, 16 too?
Exactly.
Why aren't they chasing after all the Muslims that 80-year-old men
Well,
who marry
shit, the Muslims,
40-year-old girls?
the Muslims are going after 9-year-old girls.
No.
And they're not saying one word about the Muslims. Gee, I wonder why. They're marrying 9-year-old girls. That's on fucking video, for fuck's sake.
I know.
Marrying a 9-year-old girl. Where's the outrage? Where's all my trolls and haters there? Oh, yeah.
It's not about outrage. It's about who can we take the piss off. You see,
exactly.
What I read in that thing was when a group of trolls meet up on the internet and they bond over this kind of thing, is because they haven't got real life friends. So this becomes their world.
Exactly.
So they all fixate on you because it's the thing that bonds them. Right. Without that bond, what the fuck would they talk about?
Well, exactly right. Exactly right. And it's just crazy. Dude, it's got to be early morning where you're at. Are you all right?
I'm about to I'm not long off hitting my bed. I
was going to say, because if you're 8 hours ahead of me, I got 10 o'clock, so that would be 8, and that would be 8 hours past that would be 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 76 in the morning. Holy shit.
Yeah, but the good news is it's Sunday, day of rest.
That's true. The day of rest, yes.
My daughter is nearly 16, so I haven't got a young child to be.
Right.
So, Vaughn, it's been good to talk.
Yeah. I don't mind. I don't mind talking. I mean, I don't mind talking to somebody that's going to be respectful. I don't mind that at all. And I don't even mind you disagreeing with what I believe in. I mean, if you don't want to agree with what I believe in, that's fine. But don't get on the internet and call me a fucking pedophile or a murderer or wife beater, child molester, or some of this other stupid shit that ain't true. I mean, that's just stupid.
Well, look, Vaughn, you post this. Don't forget to go back to our beginning bit, check it out. I think it was within the first 10, 15 minutes.
Well, yeah, all the places where I went and go get a soda or use the bathroom or any of this other shit, I'll cut that all out. That'll all be cut out.
Yeah, because otherwise there's long moments of me tapping around making cups of
coffee. They're not interested in that, I'm sure.
No.
I'll cut
all right, and good to speak to you. I'll drop you some of those links now before I hit my bed. I'll drop you some links.
Throw them on Skype there. I'll look at them later on, and I'm gonna go on ahead and process this later on, either tonight or tomorrow, I think. And like I said, when I'm editing it, I'll cut out all the bathroom breaks and shit. So, because nobody needs to hear that shit. But
oh yeah, you've got my Skype anyway, and I'm gonna hit you now with a couple of links.
Right, that'll be fine.
Okay. See
All
you
right.
soon.
Yep. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And you. Bye.
Bye bye, Boo Bear.
Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.